Hey everybody, welcome back to this episode of the Castaway Anime Podcast. This is part 2 of the Spring 2024 Seasonal Impressions Podcast. I'm joined by Crunchy Bagels as always, and we're here with Curious, Drowning LCL, and Framing the Narrative. We're talking about the rest of the shows. If you haven't seen part 1, go do so. Now we're just gonna jump right into it with Kaiju number 8.
So the first the first few lines of the show was the officer saying, A2, this is CP. An unfortunate beginning.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
An unfortunate beginning,
No,
if
listen,
I say
it
so
was
myself.
it was just Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
It was
It's
kinography, that's what it was.
Yeah. yeah, sure.
Yeah, so Kaiju number 8 is the big show of the season. Normally, scheduling would have permitted, it would have been headlining the first podcast, but because of the timing and when it came out, it had to come on block 2, which is like the first time I think we've ever had to do that for the podcast, where the obvious big show of the season was not on the first block, but it is what it is.
So,
Yeah,
I
so
don't
I
know. Where do we even start with
expected this one to be good because obviously it's the big shonen of the season. I'm pretty sure it's shonen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
It's from
I'm
Jump.
I think it's Shonen Jump Plus.
Ah.
I believe
Alright,
that's
that
right.
that makes sense with the premise because while I expected it to be good, I did not expect how much I would like it.
Yeah.
I love this
same.
show. This show is
Me
amazing.
too.
I
This
love
is
everything about it. I will say I'm a little hesitant about where it's going because
Yeah,
clearly,
exactly, that's where I'm
the
going.
ending is the guy turns into a kaiju. There's I love how random it is.
I turned into a
Where it's
Kaiju
like-
Morty.
It's so random because it's just like this little bug kaiju that flies into his mouth, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm a kaiju now," and now they're on the run from the law, which
Yeah.
is granted a great cliffhanger for episode 2. But it does remove a lot of what I found so compelling about the first episode, which is this guy bumming around, having to clean up after the disgusting remnants of kaijus. Like, literally, he gets the intestines multiple times because he's really good at them. And he doesn't want to do them because the intestines have the poop inside them. And he has to see that.
Yes.
And everything about that is such a compelling scenario to me. Because, it gets you thinking about actual, like, other kaiju shows and movies. And like, oh yes, someone does have to clean up after that. And in a world with so many kaiju, this is the guy who's cleaning up after it. Just this random, I think he's like 30-something years old, maybe in his late 20s. I forget the exact
No,
age because
he's
it's
in
been
his
a while.
30s. They make it a point to
He's in
say
his
he's in his
30s,
30s.
yeah.
I believe he's 32 because that's like
yeah,
the
that
cutoff.
sounds right.
Yeah, the world
Kafka.
building here is really good. There were like,
Yes.
I remember that one shot really well of I think it was like stoplights, but there was another stoplight next to the normal ones that just said kaiju. Like there was like a symbol of a kaiju on it.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah, because
Yeah.
kaiju attacks are so common in this world that they have to have like special protocols. Be like, all right, it's kaiju invading time.
Yeah.
You follow your
Yeah.
evacuation protocols, people.
It has
world
its
building's really good.
like an entire infrastructure, which kind of reminded me of Fire Force a bit, to be honest. But I feel like it's
Yeah.
a little more fleshed out
It
here.
it reminds me of the Godzilla MonsterVerse movies that have been coming out these past few years. Especially because I've only just seen the new one, Godzilla X Kong New Empire, with a friend of mine who's a big kaiju fan, and the one Crunchy mentioned earlier about how there'd be cleaners that need to clean up after the massive kaiju fights. It did get me thinking because there's this one scene near the beginning of the new Godzilla movie. I don't know if y'all have seen it. I know
Yeah.
Crunchy has it because he does not see movies that are not anime.
Really?
But there's a part where this random monster attacks Rome, I think, and Godzilla shows up because in this universe he's kind of like not a villain, but he's very territorial. He says, "All right, if you're gonna step into my domain, you best be ready to square up." And he blows this kaiju up, and it just explodes into like yellow blood goo all over the place. And I'm just thinking, man, how are they gonna clean this up afterwards? And here comes Kaiju number 8 with the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similar, well, not really, but like similar to Go-Go Luda Rangers earlier when we covered it. It tries to highlight the other side of things that we don't usually see, like the people who are playing the villain. Well, Go-Go Luda Rangers goes deeper than that, but like it's just about the consequences of the cool shit that you usually get to see portrayed in media, and I think that's really cool. I don't really think it's a super revolutionary idea to like show us the consequences, but it's really well done here, the world building and everything. So I really liked it.
Yeah,
It
well,
doesn't need
I
to be-
love that, like,
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
that's also true.
well, I was just gonna say that I love like that. There's the unit that does the fighting. There are like the units that do the cleaning. Like
Yeah.
they show us how it works with the stoplights. Like there's a second red light. There's all the stuff with the news and the announcements. There are freaking advertisements to join everywhere. Like almost military propaganda. Like it's
I like
really,
how procedural they make the corpse cleanup, because they have to like
yeah.
cut up the limbs. They harvest the bones so they can take it back to what I assume is like their research department, so they can better equip their defense force officers. They have to go into the intestines, cut it up into manageable pieces. They have to watch out for hazards in the environment.
Mhm.
There's this one moment where, well, not a moment, but it got me thinking. Like they would say, "All right, do they really expect us to have this done in a week?" And I'm like, "How the fuck do you clean this shit up in a week? There is
Yeah.
blood
Yeah.
sprayed like city blocks wide."
But it
Like,
also
how do you wash the monster blood off? Do you? Yeah, it's too. I can't imagine like a whole team doing that and not wanting to kill themselves afterwards.
well, that also really
and
highlights
regularly on a regular basis.
it highlights like the importance of organization in a system like this, because obviously they get segmented off into like this team does this part, this team does this part. There's like a procedure to the cleanup process itself, which is really really interesting, but also made for a lot of great humor.
Yeah, it did. The intestines parts and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm just really worried that from where like the ending seems to be going, that we're not
Mhm.
gonna see much of this cleanup squad anymore, because
Oh no, we're gonna be kicking that shit into the curb.
Yeah,
He's absolutely going to
right.
become,
he's gonna become like a kaiju
which to be
fighter or whatever,
fair,
yeah.
for the kind of show this is going to become, I feel like that's a fair thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that is going to happen, just going off of what I saw in episode 2. But I also I was afraid when we seen that, getting scooted out the door, that we'd lose a lot of the comedy. But episode 2 was still absolutely hilarious, and the show does
that's
a
great.
great job of like it balancing not just your shonen action scenes, and like actually like legitimately funny comedy with great visual humor as well. But also there are moments when the show is kind of terrifying. Like, the first episode jump scare actually took me off guard, but even beyond that, there are moments where it's just like, this is horrific. Like the idea of living in this society. There's a scene in episode 2 which really reminded me of Attack on Titan, like just the horror of being one of the last couple of people sitting in an area, waiting to die. Like, I don't want to go into too much.
That reminds me of that one scene, right? Where the protagonist and his childhood friend are sitting in a grass field watching presumably their hometown burn, and they're like, "Oh man, Kaiju's destroyed everything. What are you gonna miss? I'm gonna miss a cat. Oh, I'm gonna miss my Game Boy." I was like, "Wait, what?"
I missed
Give me a
Yeah.
second.
They
Wait,
didn't let me
what's
finish
happening?
my Pokemon game. I was about to catch Mewtwo, damn it.
So yeah, okay. This like kind of made me think, okay, maybe they're trying to go for this kind of everybody's kind of apathetic now because kaijus are so common. But I don't know. I don't know where it's going after what you just said, Framing.
I do think there was a degree of them trying to, well, I mean, not on the front of the cat, but with the freaking video game. He was trying to introduce levity, I think, to make the girl feel better. I don't know.
That could make
I
sense.
don't think
And-
so. I think there's just genuinely a feeling of comedy injected into
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
That could also,
And-
yeah.
Dude, they take the big like turning point of the show where he becomes a kaiju.
Yes.
And like where a normal shonen, Ichigo becomes a soul reaper, or Yuji swallows the finger and becomes super powerful and has Sukin inside him now. Tanjiro fights to protect Nezuko and becomes, the brave samurai dude. The big turning point here is played as a punchline.
Yes.
He
And-
gets the kaiju bug forced down his throat. He turns into the human kaiju instead of like ending on a whoa, he's so badass looking, like holy shit, like his junior is like stunned. It's like played as a joke. Like he looks himself in the window. He's like,
What
Huh?
the
They're
fuck is
both
happening?
shocked. They're both shocked. Then the old man comes in, like immediately pulls out his phone, shaking anxiously. Gotta call in help. And then they're all shocked. Like you get the all three shocked faces at the same time. Oh, I love it. I love it. And if not for the freaking post credit scene, I can't really knock it because I know they probably feel like they got to do it. But if not for the post credit scene, this really would have been a joke as a cliffhanger, and I love that. The one thing I will take away. In the manga, the joke is the cliffhanger, which I like way more myself. That's just me. It's like the only thing I would really
like the
take
way they
away.
did it. I like they let the joke play before the credits, and then as like
Yeah.
a little
Yeah,
hook
yeah.
for a post credit scene.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, here's the childhood friend who is having conflicting feelings about her Kafka not being able to join her at the defense force like they promised.
Oh, yeah.
But now she's like, oh, she doesn't know that this kaiju that's at the hospital is Kafka, and now she's like, well, I will exterminate this kaiju on orders.
Right.
Contrasting the
Yeah,
great
I mean-
comedy is the great midlife crisis across this entire episode. Holy shit! Like just the way.
Yeah,
it's,
true.
When was the last time we got a shonen with a protagonist in his 30s?
Yeah, and where it actually matters, like they actually kind of act like old cynical people with regrets. Like it's not just that they look older. I mean, they actually act like older people, which I
There's
dig
that-
What
it.
really
There was that-
sells
what,
it to me is that cleaning up the kaijus just seems like the worst job in the world to me. Like from my perspective, like the best like similar job in the real world would be like pig butchering or something like that.
or
Yeah.
like
You're just-
like sewer,
you just-
sewer work.
Yeah, or yeah, like a mixture of those two, where you just become so numb to like blood and gore and excrement and all that sort of stuff. It seems, at least to me, like torture. And these people,
Yeah.
they've gotten used to it. They're coping fine enough. Not the new guy. He's having a rough time, but he's getting through it with the help of our main boy.
yeah,
But
I like their
Yeah.
relationship across this episode.
And I love
they're-
how
they're
even
so lovely.
Yeah,
even though it was absolutely disgusting, it was like underlined with this like really up tempo like jazz comedy music. I love, just to point out, I mean, I love the soundtrack in this. There is jazz, there is orchestral, there is ambient. I heard like synthwave and cyberpunk tracks. Like it really has.
Cyberpunk? That's not a genre.
Yes.
No,
Well,
eh,
it is on the
kinda
internet.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to look it up.
Yeah, the soundtrack really jumped out to me too. It's one of the
Yes.
best soundtracks of the season.
Absolutely. I'm in love with the soundtrack.
Yeah,
Aren't
but
you had something
I
to
mean,
say?
the
I know they
emotional
didn't
hook,
play it in the.
go on.
I was just gonna say I know they didn't play it in the first episode, but they have the OP by Youngblood, and they did play the
Oh,
ED
yeah.
by One Republic.
Yeah,
Do you
man,
like
there's
those,
so much variety.
Did you guys like the opening?
I
I'm not
love it, dude.
actually-
I've
dude.
seen the visuals for it. The song
Visually-
is whatever. I'm not big on the visual. It just looks like a lot of
Dude,
computer effects and like actual character stuff.
Yeah.
visually, I swear to you, you'll have to like go YouTube some of these, but like look up some visuals created in FL Studios Z-Line image
Like
sequencer.
pre-made ones.
Dude, it looks like an FL Studio animation, I swear to you, but I was kind of into
Listen,
it.
man, they had to shell out to get the Youngblood and One Republic guys on
Here,
board.
I'll look.
Yeah.
let
You,
me look
you
up
don't
the
get a song
kaiju
co-written by
number 8.
Imagine Dragons for cheap.
Imagine Dragons
It's
is a very well
different.
respected
OP.
rock band across the world.
Oh yeah, extremely
I
respected.
like some of their music. I like
I am
some
looking
of their
at the
music.
opening. This.
Yes.
What even is this? Holy shit!
Ah.
This looks.
It
nothing
does
like
not
the
really
show.
reflect the quality of the show.
Yeah.
No.
No. This.
There's also
What is this? What is this?
Real-time
His love
reaction.
for Kaiju number 8 is depleting in real time.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Why? Why is any of this?
The studio kind of reminds me of Girls Band Cry.
You you know what though? I thought this episode And second episode as well. I thought it was absolutely beautifully animated. This is
IG pull through.
Yeah, production
it's
IG.
common production IGW.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this was the same. Well, I haven't watched that many of their shows recently, so maybe this is just recency bias. But I don't know if it's the same team as who worked on Heavenly Delusion, but I saw a lot of the same techniques being used, like 2D.
I would not be surprised if there was some overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of 2D.
Because I'm pretty sure this is the first IG show since Heavenly Delusion.
Yeah, I think that's right. But
I can't think of another one because they put out shows so infrequently that when the one comes out, it's like a noteworthy event.
Which is so weird because I think they have like 800 in-house employees or something like that. Like they're absolutely humongous. But
they're one of the few studios who are like, okay, let's not like put out anything every season. Let's take our time and make a banger.
Yeah, and they always impress me with the way that they actually like really pull off using CG in their shows. I love all the cuts where you can really only tell, if you have an eye for it, but when you see 2D assets being manipulated in a 3D environment, I'm sure this is like them using After Effects most likely, but you can see like the freaking virtual camera like moving through a 3D environment of like walls and ceilings and floors and doors. And the character, like the main focal point will be animated like traditionally, like full 2D. There was a lot of this in Heavenly Delusion, like the turning shot in episode 1 where she fires off the laser gun, as well as the shot where the camera like tracks down from the sky, like through the big metal I don't know what you would call it, down to like freaking floor level. But you could tell if you really pause and look, oh yeah, there are little like flat 2D assets like sitting on the ground and stuff. But in motion, it looks absolutely beautiful, and it allows them to insert a lot of dynamism into the show that probably wouldn't be there if they weren't so good at taking advantage of the actual computer generated stuff.
I get reminded of that one shot where he breaks the glass through the building in Kaiju number 8. I'm talking about that shot where he rotates the entire camera. That's the best shot of the episode for me. So cool.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, like they managed to work in the 3D environments in a way that, I mean, I didn't even really register it, but I was rewatching the scene and I was like, oh yeah, that is totally 3D CG. And
yeah, I'm pretty sure the running
like
shot.
To see uses like that in anime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get to uses later on in the podcast on how to not use it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, obviously Kafka's my favorite character, but I'm a big fan of the junior Ichikawa. I thought he was just gonna be like, the cool guy Sasuke of the show, but he's actually nice to Kafka. That he like is sympathetic to his you giving up on your dream. It doesn't even like register compute to me because I want to be a defense force officer so badly. But like once he sees like actually how driven he is and the bond that they forge while working as cleaners together, and then him coming back to save him after Kafka told him to run from the kaiju that was attacking them.
Such a great payoff.
Cool.
Such a great payoff to their relationship developing. That was great. My favorite part of the episode is that. But can we just talk more about the midlife crisis of Kafka? Because holy shit, like there was that one shot.
That is the emotional hook of the episode.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Just I mean, like I am not. I shouldn't be commenting on this because I'm barely out of high school. I'm not even out of high school. But I'm just thinking about like me being 30 and seeing people I've met in like high school or something doing cool shit, and how devastated I would feel if I wasn't doing cool shit. I was like, it hurts. It hurts. And when he was kind of comforting himself, being like, you know what, this isn't that bad. Obviously trying to be like, lying to himself. And he's like,
bullshitting himself.
Yeah. Oh, I might have given up on my dreams, but I eat the food I like. I do whatever I want after work. And it's contrasted with visuals to show that how disheveled his room is. And that hits so much.
And you also, if you pay attention, I don't remember if this was like at the beginning of episode 2 or in episode 1. I wouldn't consider this a big spoiler. But they kind of go out of their way, his coworkers, to point out, like, sure, he, acts like he's totally given up, but he always goes and takes the test when he gets a chance, like, every single time he's had the opportunity. And so, like, he's like, jaded and cynical, but he's he's still got the drive for it.
Yeah,
Like
and he's still dedicated to his cleaning job when he's actually doing it. Like people compliment
Yeah.
on how dedicated he is.
Yeah,
Uh,
like they say he always complains, but he always comes through on the job.
I also like how the reason why the tests are opening up again is because of the declining birth rate. That's a very poignant point there.
Yeah, they don't have enough young people to sign up anymore, so they're accepting.
Really a Japanese product.
Yeah.
Truly, this would have made Abe shed a tear.
You know, I wonder how the kaijus would, would affect the Japanese birth rate. I'm sure
By
that
killing
would not
people.
Be, sure, it would not be very good.
We'll gather old people in like a certain building, and then we wait for the kaiju to come. And now we've solved the population issue, the aging issue.
Oh no.
I don't think that's gonna solve the birth rate issue, though.
Yeah, that's a different thing. We go one
Then
step at a
again,
time.
if I lived in a place where, I could be attacked by a kaiju at any time, I'd find it pretty hard to get it up to.
I wonder, like, if the whole world is like this in Kaiju number 8. I'm assuming it has to be, right? So maybe we can see like hunters from
Shit.
other regions.
I
I
would
think
probably.
they
so.
said
I-
that every other country deals with them, but that Japan deals with the most of them. I'm like 90% sure that was what they said.
I think
just
that's
like how
right.
they deal the most with every like natural disaster, for some reason.
I'm sure it probably
Yeah.
plays on like MonsterVerse rules, because in MonsterVerse they have the organization Monarch that they made in response to like the first Godzilla attack to prepare for when kaiju's attack.
Mm.
Mm.
I'm kind of surprised that nobody has made this comparison yet, but especially after the ending twist, I'm like, okay, how's this not just kind of like Chainsaw Man? Like, okay, he's a devil, but he can also turn. He's a human. He can also turn into a devil, and he gets enlisted eventually, I think, into this task force, and kills the demons. So it's like, well, isn't that
I
Chainsaw Man?
It's similar superficially, but the themes are
I-
so drastically different, and
I
also the
do-
tones.
I
Mm.
do think that there's a lot here. Obviously, this is a little more lighthearted in some ways, but I say that. But I would kind of compare this to both Chainsaw and Dandadan in that, like I said, when I went back to the manga, I noticed like they actually have cliffhangers that are just jokes. Also, I mean, obviously they kind of tone this down in the anime, but there's definitely some fan service in the manga as well. So like it hits every point to me. I mean, like everything I could want from the series, I feel like I'm getting at some point
Chainsaw
or
Man,
another.
Don, and Kaiju number 8. We have a new big 3 on our hands.
Yeah, for
The Monster
me,
Big
yeah.
Three. The Monster Big
Me
Three.
when someone
Uh.
lists 3 recent shonen in any context, is that the new big 3?
Every time it's true.
I mean, that's just the worry I have. I hope, I'm pretty sure. I like the show a lot so far, so I have faith that it's not going to be like a Chainsaw Man clone or whatever.
Yeah,
there's-
this one's gonna be fun to keep up with, I imagine.
Yeah.
There is definitely, even in episode 2, there's still some humor around his transformation. Like I said, there's a lot of visual comedy. There's a moment in episode 2 where like his body starts transforming and he can't control it. There's a freaking Aliens reference. Like the freaking alien mouth comes out of his mouth and like eats a
Oh.
crow. Like he
Oh.
can't control it. It's absolutely hilarious.
awesome.
I won't
Sounds
mention.
Awesome.
That sounds really cool.
It is. But at the same time, like later on in that episode, that they managed to make him kind of freaking scary. And
All right, here's an important question that I haven't bothered to look up, but because I haven't seen it online, it's probably because it isn't the case, but just because you've seen episode 2.
Mhm.
Do they make his kaiju form CG often, like a 3D model?
I very infrequently notice. I noticed like some CG effects, like lightning effects, like when he wound up to punch a monster.
but do they pull like a Goblin Slayer and they make him 3D occasionally?
I have not noticed it, dude. If they did, I couldn't tell. It never distracted me. I didn't notice any
Yeah, that's
CG
reassuring.
models, to be honest. Maybe I would
That's
notice
a
if
bit
I
more
went back.
reassuring.
I
Yeah.
definitely hope this
Um,
is the sort of production where they go all out and keeping it as consistent as possible, because this
Wait.
show
Yeah.
deserves it, damn it. Like
Yes,
this
it does.
I hope they do pull a Heavenly Delusion on this. or at least something nearing its quality, because it is so far. I mean, I'm super excited for it. This was a highlight of this block
And
of episodes.
we'll be covering it on the podcast.
Oh, hype.
Awesome.
Yo. I did not know this before.
Do you think
recording.
we'll also have time? Do you think we'll have time to also slot in "Whisper Me a Love Song"?
Okay,
I
have a
when
bit of
Neon-
preface.
Hold on.
Okay,
But-
you can go on.
Okay, you can. Are we gonna fight to see who can preface first? Okay, I'm just gonna say real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
When Neon saw the poster to this show, I know what he went like. He saw it. His room was dark, and he was illuminated by the screen of his computer, and he went into a manic trance.
Woman kissing! Woman kissing!
Women kissing.
My very first note is Yuri Bros stand up.
Hey, I'm a big Yuri fan, so I was right there with you. Well, not really. Okay, so because I'm a big fan of the manga. This is my preface. I absolutely love the manga. Not really because the story is anything special, but because the art is legit like one of my favorite art styles I've ever seen. It balances between like detailed and cutesy. I'm gonna send a screenshot of just one of the average panels. This is not like when they go all out. This is just a single panel, and just look at how perfect it looks. I was like, wow. Yeah.
Damn, that looks better than the show.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
so
I
cute.
was about to say it does not show in the anime.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I fucking love this manga, and also I love women kissing in general. I'm really big fan
True.
of Yuri.
Well, you see, I also love women kissing, but unfortunately, I need more than just
Yeah.
Yuri fluff to survive when
Yeah.
I'm watching a TV show.
yeah,
Yeah,
this show.
I'm sad to say this one I ain't gonna be watching past the first episode. I did watch the whole episode,
Yeah,
but it ain't quite hitting, Chief.
the first
You
shot
know-
is 3D sakura petals, and I'm like, okay, it's over.
I thought there was some interesting use of like textures and reflections and stuff like that, and there was like a little bit of dynamism, but I almost immediately noticed the CG background characters, and I enjoyed most of the story, and then it got to the very end, and they hit me with like my worst personal version of the misunderstanding trope. Like they both, I understand there's extenuating circumstances, but like they both basically,
Why couldn't they both just be in love with each other?
they
Yeah.
both confess to each other, and then they're just like, oh no, I meant something else. Oh no, I meant something else too. Oh, okay. Like, no.
See,
Stop.
I knew that going into the show because it's right there on the Annie list bio, and so I did not finish
Ah.
the episode because I had that tainting my impression of it already, and I was like, I don't even want to see that scene. So going in
It's
with
sad.
already with a negative impression of what it was going to be like, I see the 3D pedestrians, the 3D Sakura petals, and then I see the character animation, which
Yeah.
is somehow
And it's so stiff.
even worse. It is some of the worst character animation I have seen in a while. They don't move.
I wouldn't.
They do not
You
move.
clearly haven't seen a lot of the shows this
It's,
season.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
say some of the
no
worst,
kidding.
but they are definitely very stiff. There's not like
Yeah.
a lot of there's no bounciness to it. When they try to do cutesy things, it's missing that critical level of like motion
Yeah.
to make it fluttery and cutesy. It just they're just like cutting between frames of here's a character doing a cute thing, but there's no transition to make it look nice.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, just
This-
like
this is
every
really sad.
my main
Yeah.
memories of this show is just every time any character moves, I have to put the move in quotations because they do not they do not move. I mean, they do move, but they do not look like human movements. It looks like cinder blocks being tilted in a direction to express an emotion. Or at least
Yeah,
that
the
is
show-
the impression it gives.
When the show is like a slideshow, it's kind of okay because I just love the art style and they try to recreate it when it's not moving.
Yeah.
But when it starts moving, it just everything crumbles and it's horrible. It's horrible.
I mean, the art style is theoretically cool. I like pretty, flowery art styles.
I like the
but
older girl's
this-
design.
Yeah.
I like how they do try to make her, cool and like more mature looking, but still, melts into a puddle over this cute junior that's she's in love with.
yeah.
I like her jellyfish hair. I don't like the pink-haired girl's design because I just look at her and go, "That's Yui Gahama." I'm pretty sure that was her name.
For
Yeah,
Oregai,
She
yeah,
she does
yeah.
look like a
Oregai.
Love Live character.
A Love Live character.
I don't know. I've just
She,
seen
she reminds
so
me of
many
a character
pink-
from Love Live.
I've seen so many anime girls from like generic shows that I can't remember the names of that just look exactly like Yui Gahama. And every time I see them, I point and go, "That's Yui Gahama," and I will never see them
Yeah.
as anyone else because of Origairu. And so
They're-
that design
they're-
is dead to me. Don't use that design. Change it up. It will always just look like Yui to me.
And Mr.
It's so
Japan
crazy.
anime, listen up to Crunchies.
Yeah,
I
I
would
mean,
say-
I'm obviously the anime arbiter. I know what I'm
Yes.
talking about, clearly. Not even living
It's
in
so-
Japan,
Anime
but
arbiter.
That aside.
Yeah.
I can see it. I feel like I noticed way more. What was it? Yuki no Shida or whatever. The black character in
yeah.
the same show.
Yoshita,
Oh,
because-
she does look like Yukino.
There are so
Well,
many
yeah,
of
I
those.
thought
Those
that
are
too,
everywhere.
Bro, so this is just Oregairu without Hachiman. You ruined this fucking manga for
I
me, bro.
well, at the very
No,
least,
no, no.
she
It's
has, like, a
Origairu
unique-
if you wanted Hachiman removed from the picture and you wanted Yukino and Yui to get together.
Yeah.
I've already read that one. It was only about 20 pages
It's a
long, but I've
doujin
read
come
it.
to life.
Exactly.
Something very funny to me about this episode is the in media res, right? So it starts with a slightly
really
improved version of one of my least favorite tropes of like, oh, they see the concert and it inspires them to do whatever. In this case, it isn't inspiring her to get into music, but inspiring her to be in love with this girl. Right. And so I see that scene and I'm like, okay, well, that's, kind of generic, whatever. At least it's like them falling in lesbians with each other instead of it being the usual.
But then it
get
happens
inspired to
again
do-
4
It
minutes into the
happens
episode.
again. Yeah, like a few minutes later, and I'm like, what was the point? It's the same.
Is this where our generation has
twice.
gotten to? Are we YouTube TikToking intros now to get people
Dude,
into the shows?
It's not
Oh,
even
God.
this. It's not even the only anime in this block that does
Yeah.
that.
There's like so many. There is so
Crazy.
many. Like, okay, I get it theoretically because, when you're reading a manga, you usually start out with like a color spread or something, pretty, good looking. And that's usually like a 2-page thing and they want to show something cool happening. And then they transition into the actual show. But when the actual manga, which is black and white. So there's kind of a difference there. But this one, we just see the two same things at once. So
Yeah, it's like you get hit with a preview or like a cold open of sorts, and then it jumps back to the beginning. But with so many of these shows, like they get back to that part, and then you just see the same animation and the same lines repeated again. Like,
yeah.
why? There was a better way to do
Other
this.
ones as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Vampire
ever
Dormitory.
since
Vampire
Beyond,
Dormitory was
Yeah.
blatant.
mentions like the TikTok YouTuber attention spans thing. The main thing in my head is like this one random YouTuber who I guess visited the islands that Mr. Beast did for some challenge, and like every couple of minutes he says, we're about to get like to this area. We're about to see
Mr. Beast
this
Island,
thing.
Mr. Beast briefcase, Mr. Brief tree, Mr. Beast house, Mr.
You've
Beast
seen the
ground,
video, haven't
Mr.
you?
Beast
You've seen the
sand. Yes,
fucking
I've seen the
video.
video. It's
I haven't seen it. Please
ridiculous.
send it to me. I need
Oh, everything is Mr. Beast this, Mr. Beast that. Like everything has that preface. It's hilarious. I don't remember how we even got on
Despite
this.
having a main character named Himari Kino, this is in fact not kinography.
Oh
Kino.
shit. Roasted.
I think you destroyed the show right there.
Yeah.
Just destroyed it.
I will say I kind of liked the character's personality, like the aloofness, the completely dense, like 100%.
I don't dislike the dynamic they have. I
Yeah.
just
Actually,
if I'm going to continue this, it would be as a manga where I could like
Please
breezily
read the manga. Please
get through
read
the
the manga.
chapters at my own
Okay.
pace,
Yeah.
and with a much better art style,
Yeah.
as opposed
Yeah.
to being sitting here for 24 minutes at a time, being like, I have to watch this subpar animation, this subpar
Yeah.
directing.
Mm.
No thanks.
although I will
I would
say,
agree.
I just saw this in my notes, which reminded me of it. There's the one scene where the yellow bitch is telling the red bitch, spoken like a true rich girl, Ma-chan. Because
Oh.
she's like, willing to buy a bunch of cat stuff for Yukinoshita. And I'm just thinking to
Mhm.
myself, she just said her trope aloud. She
Yeah.
literally said the trope that the character
There's a lot of that this season
embodies
too.
in
Yeah.
in her Dude, it's like as soon as that happens in the dialogue of a show, I completely lose interest. Whereas I was watching K-On! Recently, and then K-On! They like
Oh, yeah.
actually build up to it, where the Mio or not Mio, Mugi,
Mugi.
hasn't visited fast food places, and she's like, oh, so excited about it, and you're like, what's her deal? And then in episode 2, it's eventually revealed that, oh, her dad owns the shop, and that's how you figure out that she's filthy rich. And they like build up to it subtly, and they like once they have the scene where she like it's revealed that her dad owns the place, it's just taken as a matter of fact that you understand that she is rich, because that show respects your intelligence. But if it were written like this show, it'd be Mookie, why are you so excited? Or no, it'd be Mookie, man, you're so excited to go to McDonald's. That's just like a true rich girl, Mia or Moogie. I keep mixing up the names. Moogie, never been to a restaurant, you rascal.
And everybody clapped.
Oh, I bet the reason why you bring all those cakes to the club room, Moogie, is because you're so rich that you have your chef make them for you. Ah, drats, Moogie, you rascal. That would be
I'm Yui.
I'm
Yui. I'm the dumb one. I'm Yui. I'm the dumb one.
Man, Yui, you're such a klutz sometimes. You're always like that,
Damn, Yui, you're such a fucking retard.
I'm Mio. I'm the straight man. I'm Mio.
To be fair, if one of the K-On! Girls actually called Yui that, it would be peak. So I would give it a pass there.
Yeah, but that's because that's a good show.
All right, so we move on from one love show to another, and unfortunately, I did not see a condition called love, so y'all have to tell me about this one.
I actually quite enjoyed this one.
It is
myself.
Really?
I did not enjoy it. It is like ever so slightly better than this one. I have them right next to each other on my ranking, and this one is like the space above it. So I mean, we have an improvement. Not much of one, but it is an improvement.
Crunchy, how would you compare it to the Sign of Affection Deaf Girl show last season?
It has no commonality. I think. There's no even gimmick.
Well, yeah, no commonality, but it's infinitely worse if I had to compare. Okay,
sorry, it sounds like I'm not missing much then.
I'm so sick of romances about the hottest guy in class or the hottest
my God.
girl in class.
Yeah,
Look
okay,
at
it sounds like I'm
Mrs.
really not
Big
missing
Tits
much.
over there. She's in the top 1 percentile of women all around the world. Well, in this show, it's actually the guy who they say is in the top 1 percentile of the school, and it's the ordinary girl. Which, granted, I like her. I like her personality. She's kind of got like a flat affect, just kind of numb to everything. Sort of a deadpan girl, and she turns down the guy because she like doesn't get love. Theoretically, and this is the main reason why it's better than the previous one, which is that she, I can connect to her personality. I like where it's going with her character. The problem is that, first of all, the show is unbelievably ugly. Like, horrible looking. It is so awful to look at. I did not finish the episode once again, because it was just too eye-searing. I hated looking at it. But number 2,
I was
so sick of these hot guy anime. He's so overwhelmingly attractive. All my favorite rom-coms are about ordinary people getting up with other ordinary people. Or if they're extraordinary, it's in ways that aren't, she's so hot. Look at her go. Like, the peak of my tolerance for this is like Dress Up Darling, and that's anything further than that, or I guess not further, but anything that doesn't compensate with good writing enough while being one of those shows, as much as Dress Up Darling did, I cannot stomach anymore. I'm so tired of it. I relate to normal people, and I guess another part of the disconnect is that whenever, like in real life, whenever people, talk about, this is like the embodiment of all of what society has deemed as like the ideal body type and appearance, I don't think it's hot at all. Like, I'm extremely apathetic to it. I just find ordinary people more appealing, genuinely. And so when I see a show about a girl that is once again, in this case, a guy who's supposed to embody that, like, slightly, mysterious and cool kind of deadpan boy. I just don't care. Like, there was a reason
Yeah, I
why
will
one of my
say-
favorite rom-coms, Ori Monogatari, I love that they make that guy the main guy's best friend. Yeah.
Oh, really?
He's a side
Ah,
character.
okay.
Yeah, he's the main guy's best friend.
Right.
And the actual
That's
focus
actually
of the show. One of the joke is that he doesn't even get with anyone by the end of, I guess it kind of spoiled it. But
Ah,
the main guy, the main couple is just like part of the idea of the show is that he's kind of ugly, but not like over the top ugly like with Isekai. But he's just like a normal dude. He's just like the
Yeah.
super large, super broad, like freshman in high school or whatever. Looks like an adult man, but is actually 14. And, he just looks like a normal dude. And then the girl, she's
Right.
cute. I like her. Really, really appealing to me. But within canon, she's just some girl. Like, she's not particularly appealing within the canon of the show. Like, she's just some girl. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I like.
normal people.
You know,
You need more
that-
normal
that
people.
Crunchy, it sounds like you would enjoy the hell out of Horimiya.
Okay, so
I watched
before
the
watching
first
Horimiya,
episode,
watch.
like, many years ago.
You should watch Karakano instead, the one directed by Ano, because that's like Horimiya but with actual punch to it. And that was
Karikano
really-
is great.
Yeah, and Horimiya.
I've heard
God,
it's
okay.
the best thing
Okay, but
ever.
do they fuck in Karikano?
Yes.
I think
And do they give the main
Yeah.
girl a
I've heard
specific
horror
fetish
stories
that's
about the
actually
manga
interesting
of
as a character's
Karikano.
trait?
My
Oh,
friend
yeah,
hates the
I haven't read
Karikano
that.
Yeah, that's what I
manga.
thought.
They do
Really?
have sex in the manga, but it is less than good circumstances. I'll
They
leave it
do
there.
in the anime as well. The
Yeah.
They do?
problem with the anime, yeah, it's kind of it's handled very creatively, like silhouettes and stuff like that. But
Yeah, no money. Yay.
Well, no, I was gonna say that the problem with Karikano, I would still watch it. I've never actually finished it because I watched up until the point that Ano left. I cannot remember.
That's a
who-
myth, actually. Like he didn't actually
Is it?
leave. There's like
Is it
yeah,
really?
yeah. Go to like Stevem. He's a YouTuber. He's like disproved it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Well, I
let's go
need
back to the
to-
show for a bit. Like
Yeah,
because I think
yeah,
we're
we're-
going off track. Like I can see where you think the show is slightly better than Whisper Me a Love Song, but to me I found more things that are actually kind of offensive to me in the show.
Ah.
For example, the
Oh,
first
Lord.
line of this guy is like him waffling about how love is something you only devote to your one soulmate, which already makes me not like him. I'm not gonna pretend I'm like a romance expert or something, but that like over romanticization of partners that's so common in media, like oh my soulmate, it's so fucking it can be really fucking harmful. It leads people to having really unrealistic expectations of their relationships, and especially because this is like a pretty perfect boy, and everything he does is like there are some things you could say that you could reasonably say is creepy that he does. The things he does for the protagonist is creepy if you're not like this fucking attractive. But because the show is
He has
pretty
no
much
idea what it means to go too far.
yeah, but because the show is
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
much
where I-
wish fulfillment. Yeah, what do you want?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You would just say, yeah, what do you want?
No, I said yeah. What do you? I didn't say. That. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, what the fuck do you want, Crunchy? Interrupting his incredibly good point.
I'm gonna crawl back into a corner. You guys say. You guys,
Sorry.
you guys go.
No, you're
I
good.
just thought
you're
it was
good. Keep on
funny.
going.
Okay, no, I was talking about how this show is like likely statistically a wish fulfillment for female people, female audiences
Mm.
because this is shoujo
Oh,
manga,
absolutely.
right? So I think these like acts of creepiness are being twisted into he just cares so much about her, don't you? The statistically female viewer wants to also have a pretty boy care about you so much. Like that's kind of the appeal of the show, and combined with the whole soulmate thing, it's just creepy on creepy on creepy, and I don't like it. That's
And yet, when
Yeah.
I obsess over women to a point of a problem, I
didn't
get hit
get
with the
that-
restraining order.
I didn't get that far into the episode, but I mean, any show where a character, because he gets turned down and then he doesn't let up, he is
Mhm.
not deterred, and any show with that trope immediately just rubs me the wrong way. Where
and the ending
if someone
is actually
rejects you, how
you should
bad is the
probably
ending?
know. No, the ending is that he eventually realizes, okay, I shouldn't do that because he was still obsessing over him until like the final scenes of the episode. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop bothering you. And then the girl's like, no, actually, come back. I think I actually want to like you now.
It's just like that one show Crunchy hated from however long ago.
What is that one?
What the fuck was the one? The one where the main guy stops going after the girl and then she is like, no wait, keep lusting after me.
Dreaming Boy is a realist, my most hated, my most furiously despised anime of all time. Oh, how I loved not thinking of you, but now Neon
What have
has
you done,
brought it
Neon?
hurtling
What have you done?
back
What
into
have you
every
done?
wrinkle of my brain, and now I'm filled with rage once more.
What have we done?
Sorry,
You liked
what
it, right,
happened?
Framing?
I
What
liked
was
it. I
saying?
really.
I was
Okay.
in a trance.
Wait, which show?
I'll-
This
I'll-
one or Dreaming Boy is a realist?
Oh no, this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
There are some things about it though that like I don't know if this has anything to do with the complaints you guys have, but there were things in the show that were taken very seriously that kind of felt like they should be a joke. Like the main character really is literally the meme suffering from success. Like he's so utterly beautiful that everyone treats him like basically not like a human, and so that's where like a lot of his social ills come from.
The thing is, like,
Which
we
is-
don't fucking see it. We only hear people saying, "Oh my god, he's top 1% of male. He's very optimal male," and then that's it.
He's so Sigma.
You know,
He's
to
so
be
Sigma,
fair,
guys.
He's so
To be
skibbity.
fair,
He's so...
at least the dissonance wasn't there with that aspect. Like I always find it frustrating with shows where one of the two things will happen. Like the character will be everyone says that they're like the ideal even though they look hideous, or everyone's like, oh, you know, no one's ever reached out to me at all even though they're absolutely beautiful. I will say in this one, like they're constantly telling you he's utterly beautiful, and I was sitting here like I'm feeling the gay panic right now a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like he is a very pretty man.
So I looked at the
thing
manga
is, the
because
show
it is a
is
show.
so ugly.
Yeah, yeah. So I looked
Yeah,
into
show
the
is
manga because
so
I was
ugly
like,
that I didn't feel it.
yeah,
I see.
the show is pretty ugly in comparison to the manga because I was like, okay, shoujo manga tends to have some pretty bubbly, good art. So I looked into it, and then yeah, he looks so much better in the manga for me actually. Maybe it's just because like black and white, there's less space to fuck it up with horrible coloring. But yeah, he just looks so much better in the same. This is the same scene I pulled from both the manga and the anime. And I don't know. I just think the manga looks a lot better.
I think I know I always say I'm a little less picky with this. I would say this is not straight up ugly. It's very basic. I think people who don't have the eye for all the little details like compositing and stuff like that, somewhat slidey animation at times, are probably not going to have an issue with this visually. Obviously, the biggest selling point of this one is that by the end of the episode, the characters like are actually together. Like it's actually a romance anime with some romance, seemingly.
But just watch.
I know that's not.
Monogatari, they get together and they not in episode 1, but they get together early.
Just watch
Yeah, that's fair.
Karikano. You saw
They're
Karikano,
just-
and then you're like saying, "Oh, this is somehow like acceptable." Come on, Framing. I'm so disappointed.
I'm just saying, I know so many people are starved for a show that actually goes into that element. There were some other things that kind of drove me a little crazy. Like I wrote down his willingness to keep changing back and forth just for someone else is really strange.
Yeah, it's
Because he changed for her and then he changed back, and it was just back and forth, like just totally flippantly.
And the main girl's trying to be like innocently being like, yeah, you don't have to change yourself for me. That's not good. That's not a good thing to do. And it's like, okay, as you say, he doesn't register.
Yeah.
He's still like trying to, change himself for her and doing all this like kind of obsessive shit. It's bad.
There was very they were very tropey as characters, I won't lie. Two things I would compliment, at least personally. I thought the music was pretty good.
The
And
music was just like lo-fi girl music. Like
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
this is the
But
drums
I
they picked
love
especially.
Lo-Fi Girl.
Aren't
Also,
you like a musician, Framing? Don't you like play?
yes.
Oh, Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
the only other thing I will say to try to balance things out, I cannot remember exactly what this was, but I remember writing down like the visual representation. Nothing mind blowing, but it was competent. Like I know a lot of people really praised Horimiya back in the day for like, oh my god, like the colors backdropping them like represent their emotions, but it was super basic. I cannot remember exactly what it was because it's been like 2 weeks since I watched it, but I thought that was actually pretty competent. There were like some visual background elements that really represented like how characters were feeling, and you know that was kind of cool. That's about all I could give it, honestly. Though I just wanted to balance things out a bit. I thought
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed the first episode. I think people who are totally starved for romance with actual romance, especially if they've already seen, you know, if they've seen Karekano, they've seen Horimiya,
Watch it
they've
again.
seen
Watch it again.
Origairu.
That's so easy. Just
Totally
watch it again.
Current year, there's no way.
Totally
There's no
fair.
way anime fans today have seen Karekano.
True.
I
got
say,
it.
having not seen
Unfortunately.
Karekano.
It's good. It's good. I mean, it's Ano.
It
so-
is.
No way seasonal anime fans that
Uh,
have seen Karekano.
yeah.
I should say.
That is
True.
unfortunate.
Because they're too busy watching Unnamed Memory.
Yes. The only note I had for the show is she's Echidna but less hot. And that's it.
This show. Okay, so I actually, for once, finished an episode of a bad show. On 2x speed by the end, but you know, I did get through to the end, so that's something. But there is an unhinged moment. An
Which moment?
insanely
I'm pretty
unhinged
sure I know.
moment. Completely out of pocket. That baffled me. It's near the end of the episode, right?
I
So
think I
some
know what you mean, and I
context.
love it.
Yeah.
Is it the one where he pulls out a
this
sword?
guy. No, so
I
this
love
guy
him.
is climbing this tower to get to
never
this
mind.
girl because she can, you know, cure this curse that he has. Maybe, right? He's going for a chance at that. And as it turns out, he's got that corrosive cum, that sizzling semen. And so anytime
Why I
that
gotta say it like
his
that?
man juice touches a wound, it's just got too much cursed energy from Jujutsu Kaisen, man. It's not good.
It's domain
So
expansion
he
in his
needs-
penis.
All
Yeah,
his
so he
sperms have like
needs
little tiny
himself.
hooks that tear into the woman.
Yeah, so he basically there's no way to cure the curse. However, basically the way it works, I forget the exact rationale because it's been a while since I've seen the episode. But he just needs to find someone whose womb can handle it, who has the ability to take on his, you know, whose womb won't be corroded.
The
by that
magical
corrosive
capacity, basically. No,
Yeah,
no.
basically
I
just
thought this
magical stuff.
explanation was so strange. I think it was basically, the idea was that there was a blessing, not a curse, and the blessing was a protective blessing that would be around the child in the womb, but it would be
Yeah.
so tight and so powerful that the child would just be crushed and wouldn't be able to survive it. That was
So what's the
Just to
unhinged
throw
moment?
out, like,
Please
the
go- please
actual
go into the unhinged
explanation.
Okay,
moment. I
but
don't-
the unhinged moment is when
sorry.
he's
Yeah.
like, you know, he's having some reservations about this. He's like, you know, but what if it's like some old fuck? What if it's some old hag who has the ability to, you know, handle this child? And matter of fact, what if it's a child? Well, if it's an old fuck, you know, doesn't matter. If it's, oh yeah, he also says, what if it's someone else in a relationship? Like, yeah, cheating's immoral. You can, you know, you can just not bother with that. But you want to know what isn't immoral in her eyes? I have
yeah.
the line quoted. If she's a child, you can raise her to be your ideal woman.
Yeah, that was
She
That's
literally
grooming,
tells him
baby!
to groom someone, to groom a child.
Yeah, that was
She
kind of
literally
weird. Not gonna
tells him
lie.
that. She tells him, "Hey yo, Usagi, drop that motherfucker! Usagi, drop her now!"
You may mold her into the perfect woman. Yeah, that was pretty
It's
like in
strange.
real
so
life.
That was
bad. It's so
horrible.
bad.
and it was pretty out of place for the tone of this, and to be honest.
It comes out of nowhere. And see, the thing is, in
Yeah.
a smart show, this would be like a critique on the society that this is normalized. But come on, look at the show's art style, and you
No.
already know it's
It-
way
it's
too generic to
literally-
attempt anything that complicated. The show,
they literally-
she is saying this straight, and the show's just taking it as a matter of fact that this is
Yeah.
just fine.
They're just like, here are the physical rules of who you could and could not be with, as matter of fact as possible.
I mean,
I
Bro,
thought
they
you
have
were
a tea
gonna.
party for like 10 minutes.
I thought you were gonna mention the part after that, to be honest, but no, I forgot
what's
all
the part
about that.
After that,
Oh, where he decides that he's just gonna convince her to fall in love with
oh,
him
well, that's
instead,
not
basically.
unhinged. That was like kind
Yeah,
of the
true.
best part of the episode. But
I
Yeah.
was like, yeah,
I-
it's
every,
predictable.
everything else was
Would-
just garbage.
I
Well,
have
this
a-
was what I was gonna say. I actually really like his character because like he's a prince. He's of royalty, but he's super brash, overconfident, and like he does not care about like the customs of the royalty and the like, which I really appreciated. He had a line where I think he said, the witch is about to attack him because obviously she doesn't want to be with him. And he pulls the sword and she notices that it's this like really famous relic, and she kind of scolds him for having it out, and he's just like, a great weapon serves its purpose on the field, not in a freaking museum. I love that about him. And when she like chastised him, like, what would the royalty think if you were, to find a suitor who was a witch? Like they'd all, their heads would roll. They'd all be bleeding. I don't remember what the metaphor was, but he just said, "Yeah, I'd love to see that." Like he does not care about the decorum at all, which really, really made me warm up to him pretty quickly.
But his name
near the end of the episode.
But his name is Oscar Lyeth Incritos Los Farces. I was trying to figure out why I wrote kill yourself 3 times in the notes, and this is why.
Yeah, it's a pretty ridiculous name.
Incritos.
I mean, you say that about his character, but I was so
Right.
bored by how generic
Yeah.
every aspect of the show is that I like didn't
and-
even register that as an interesting character trait. I was just like,
Same.
I will say
he's got like no
the tower
character design.
climbing
He's
was
just
pretty
some
boring.
dude.
Some dude.
Yeah,
in
getting up that
armor.
tower
He's
is
just a
boring.
prince.
His design is nothing. Even the main girl's design, which is ever so slightly better, is still nothing. It's still
I
the most
think-
generic light novel girl you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Right. I think this is clearly probably going to go a route where I don't know, like slice of life budding romance, like with an occasional like
Absolutely, it's gonna
fantasy
be
fight
so boring.
scene. That's well, I love that kind of stuff, so I mean maybe that's why I feel better about it. But I can definitely agree that the freaking tower climbing sequence was pretty boring. Like the freaking back and forth dialogue between the prince and his God, I don't remember if it was his retainer or his guard or what, but he was just like, shouldn't we go back? No, I'm going forward. Shouldn't we
He's
go
just
back?
some
No, I'm going
dude.
forward. That part was pretty boring. I hope there's less of that going forward.
That's why I was on 2x speed by the time we got to that conversation at the end. Because we just spent
Understandable.
half the episode climbing this tower. And it's like
And just
supposed to be
him
super
And then the
obliterating
other half
everything.
having a tea party for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
yeah, there's
the
like
real
there's like
question.
no tension when he's climbing the tower. He
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
obliterates
yeah.
everything.
He's totally OP. I think the real question going forward is the dynamic between these two characters going to be able to survive like a full season? I like
It
both
didn't survive the first episode, mate.
Yeah. I mean, how am I
Okay,
supposed to
perfectly.
like the main girl when she's just straight up telling him to groom children? Groom children.
Yeah.
I can't
so
get over
quirky.
it. I literally cannot get over it.
Okay, once again, I guess this is just one of those things where I just I've been thinking about writing a video about this, like the
Grooming.
No.
I've been getting into
No,
grooming
like-
recently.
what it's like to be a freaking like classic anime viewer. I don't know, like so much of the anime bullshit and even the weird stuff, it rolls off my back like rain. Like I don't even notice it much of the time.
You heard me
I
like,
guess-
fucking crying over one slave in the isekai, and you're like,
I dude,
What's
and
wrong
I
with
mean the
people?
the funny thing was I was like, dude, this is like the most fascinating new isekai this season because of that specifically. I don't, but not to get into a debate over freaking Remonster.
what? Oh, I don't even remember that Remonster had a fucking slave.
Oh wait, were we?
It's
were we
almost like they
talking
all
about
blend
this?
together,
yeah,
huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
they do really, Neon.
Oh wait, no, I do think you were talking about a different one.
Oh,
Yeah,
come-
yeah, you were talking about.
He can't even remember which one he's talking about.
You were talking about Elf Bride or whatever.
Elf Bride.
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
even an isekai. That just felt like an isekai because it
Yeah,
looked
that
so
was
bad.
just a
Alright,
fantasy.
I feel you.
Oh,
I
God.
think that point kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am sad I did not get to watch Bartender Glass of God because as someone
Ah.
who's trying to get into drinking in bars, this sounds like it would have been right up my alley.
Yeah,
I
this was
enjoyed
like
this one.
actually good.
I enjoyed
like,
this one.
actually good.
This
Yeah.
one was decent. I like the thing with this show, right? So this first episode does have a hook. They're trying to find the new bartender. I sort of sped this one up because the directing and visuals and all that seemed way too generic for me to actually
Not
like
that
it.
good.
But I guess my main concern with this show, I enjoyed the first episode on like 2x speed by the end, admittedly, and thought like, oh, you know what? Maybe if I had watched it in 1x, it would have still been fine. But I have zero faith in it continuing to be entertaining. Because I think from this point, we haven't established any interesting characters, and I think from this point forward, it's going to get very slice of lifey without even much of a thrust in individual episodes, if I had to guess. And so I just can't imagine it remaining interesting.
Well,
I
there's one
noticed-
way I could kind of imagine it being interesting, because to me, what was interesting by the end is that he was kind of observing these details, the bartender, about his customers and trying to make the perfect drink for them. And through that, he kind of shows how considerate, like how much thought he puts into these drinks. I was like, you could kind of do that for maybe like different people in different, places in society, that come into this bar.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be something that's interesting, but that, it probably needs to still move a few steps to get there. And I don't know how to.
Now that you're
But-
mentioning
It kinda
that
came
could
out of-
be interesting, of like trying to read someone's character on the spot in order
Yeah.
to tailor their drink to them by noticing details
Yeah.
about them. That would be a really interesting hook, but I'm not sure how far it'll lean into that direction. And also, am I the only one who hates the bartender guy's design?
His
He
hair
looks
is
like
so
a slightly
stupid.
more.
Why-
His
why?
hair is so bad. He's got like it's slicked back except for the 4 like strands right in front of his eyes that are
Odd.
it's so goofy. He's like
Yeah.
he looks like John every anime if he had the worst hair day imaginable.
He
And that's
kind of
just
just
his
had
design.
Yeah.
John Everyman, but kind of like almost a greaser, but only like 20% maybe.
Yeah. I also the design of the office workers, the employees of the company. One of them is just her name's Yukari, and she is the 5 people who listen to this will appreciate this. She is literally Yukari from Persona 3. I'm not kidding. It's the same hair. Okay, somebody will know what I'm talking about. And also,
Well, unfortunately,
you
that someone is
say
not
that like
me.
Persona 3 is not super popular,
Ah,
especially
yeah.
this year
that's right.
when
Yeah,
the remake just came
the remake
out.
just
Oh,
came out.
yeah.
The remake was great. I enjoyed it a lot. Have you guys played it? Played any Persona?
I've played the first hour of Persona 5, and that's it.
Okay, that's sad.
Didn't
I'm
even
like
get
halfway in the middle of
past
5.
the first hour.
Do you hate?
No, I just didn't have time to dedicate to a JRPG.
That's fair. That's fair.
It was a good first hour for what it was, for what it was worth.
Yeah, I enjoyed them. I've just never actually finished any of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's understandable. What do you?
I felt like this was this was more than anything like an atmosphere kind of episode. Like you said, it could kind of be slice of lifey going forward. I also really appreciated the freaking like observing aspect.
Yeah.
Like when he started talking about how the freaking watch was loose and like upside down, and like she had forgot to button her button, so she was obviously overworking herself, couldn't keep up with all the details. I do hope there's more of that later. I wasn't that bothered by the visuals. I kind of liked the use of texture, like for wood and metal appliances and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
know it's kind of
the
just to be
ice looked
expected
pretty
these
good.
days.
Yeah, the ice
Oh,
and
yeah.
the individual drinks, they look pretty alright. Yeah, I liked how they looked.
I did like the reaction animation, like when she finally took a sip of the highball and she was just like out in the middle of the ocean in front of an island. Like it was the most relaxing place she could possibly be, which was like the exact opposite of the, situation she had been putting herself through So like not only was it beautiful, but it kind of like fit the effect that the bartender was trying to trying to give to her, like a strong, relaxing drink for someone who's been overworking themselves. Now you're in like the most relaxing place you can imagine,
Yeah,
just surrounded by water.
and I think
I thought yeah.
I think that idea of like the bartender, or at least the idea of somebody who's devoted themselves to this craft so much that they're able to
Yeah.
do things like this for other people. Maybe like a barista or something. Even though those jobs probably aren't this glamorous in real life. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
really into that idea, right? Just so I
This-
really like the
this-
show from the start.
That kind of reminded me, not musically, of course. I think the soundtrack was mostly like jazz and hip hoppy stuff, but the bartender aspect kind of reminded me
Valhalla?
of the little bit of Valhalla
Yes.
that I played.
Yeah, I also
Um,
played a little bit of it, but it was great. The music was fucking amazing.
yeah.
That guy, the
Yes.
road, whatever the fuck. Yeah, great. What is it?
Valhalla OST is great.
Yeah, use it for the
Yeah, I've
videos.
been meaning to play Valhalla.
Yes.
Someone gifted it to me for Christmas, and I still haven't busted it out, even though I know it'll be amazing.
It's a very chill
Nice.
time. It's a great time.
I
but-
didn't really know this until I was already watching, but this is a remake of an old show called
What?
this is
Really?
a
Yeah,
remake
it's a remake.
Wait,
of a
I
show
didn't
that's
know
just
this.
called Bartender.
Obscure anime called Bartender from 2006.
Yeah, funny enough, I was like scrolling through Twitter right after I watched this, and I seen a freaking tweet from Trixie that was talking about like how they really appreciated this as a remake as opposed to Spice and Wolf, which I thought was kind of funny.
That's interesting.
Fun
That's
facts.
really
Huh. Yeah.
goofy, especially because this show doesn't look good either.
Ah,
Yeah.
I knew you would say
Like
that.
that's what confused me about it. Or
I-
that's what confused me.
I don't
about
know
that
what the-
tweet.
I don't know what the 2006
Right.
Bartender looks like, so I
I
can't
actually have
really
it booted
compare
up
the
right
two.
now, and I'm looking at it. But
Okay.
so was I the only one who, when seeing the opening monologue, all right, so he says there are two occupations that must not deceive the customer, a pharmacist and a bartender, and I immediately pause it and go, I could think of way more than two,
Yeah.
way more, way more.
Oh yeah, name one more.
Yeah, and also
okay, so we've got pharmacist. Let's see, maybe the 911 operator. Let's see. They probably shouldn't deceive
Okay, name
you.
5.
No, name
Maybe
5.
like lawyers. Maybe like lawyers or something.
Yeah,
The people in court.
yeah.
It's like a-
police
I guess it's a dramatic framing
officers,
device.
although I guess police officers
Yeah.
do sometimes
Yeah.
deceive people when they interrogate them.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I was gonna say, I mean, even on the pharmacist thing, I'm immediately jumping to like freaking doctors recommending freaking toothpastes. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend this toothpaste that has sugar in it. Like they kind of deceive you all the time, but okay.
Who's that one fucking stickler doctor, huh?
Who's actually recommending something that's good for your teeth? The one thing I did actually kind of appreciate. I don't remember that much of this at this point, but the dialogue surrounding the workplace, like the one of the issues the characters ended up going through was that their expenses were no longer covered for the
Yeah.
operation.
Like that's so real.
That's
that's
the
real.
work dialogue. Yeah, I loved the work dialogue.
there-
That was
there
really
is-
nice.
There's a lot of realism lent to this show by how thoroughly
Mhm.
the process of making the alcoholic drinks is. And you can tell
Yeah.
that the author of the original manga clearly, or I guess if it is based off of a manga, I don't actually know, I just assumed. But whoever
It is.
was the person, okay, it is, yeah, the mangaka clearly has passion for, going to bars and whatnot
Mhm.
and bartending. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
That does
I
a lot
don't
for me.
think I have share the same passion, partially because I'm underage. But I mean,
Give it a couple more years. You'll be
I
singing
mean, I
a
also
different
just can't
tune.
see myself ever getting into it because I'd be too paranoid about getting brain damage from over drinking.
Hmm.
But
Ah,
yeah.
I mean, even
at the
though,
same
like, the-
time,
How else
the
are you gonna
facts that
complete
can
your
tell how
digi
passionate-
arc?
Oh yeah, my digi arc where I just drink myself into memory loss. Or I guess near the end it was weed, but
It is what it is. Yeah, I
Uh,
think
You
It is
gotta
what it
double up.
the passion part is, I think, the more important part to me, because like even though the drinking age in Eastern Europe is when you have the balls for it, I'm not like a big drinker myself. But I really still like the passion behind the craft. That was the part that grabbed me for the entire show, entire episode.
Yeah, that alone will almost carry a show for me. Like, even if I'm not all that interested in the thing, I just love when I'm watching something and I can really tell the person writing this knew what they were talking about this totally random topic they picked.
Yeah, and that's kind of something pretty unique to manga and like light novels, the kind of Japanese
Yeah.
things. Like they really dive
yeah.
into specific niches that nobody really gives a shit about. That's great.
Yeah. Am I the only one who bursted out laughing when I read the line, "When I see a man work his fingers like this, it's super sexy."
I mean, it was a sick fucking shaking
Women
animation.
love guys who
yeah,
are good with
yeah.
their hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a sick animation. The whole like the shaking the bottle. That was
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
See, they waited
I
a
dug
while
it.
before she said it was like super sexy or whatever. And I
Mhm.
saw it coming. I was like, oh, there's only one place where this could go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another place where, and I mean, I can tell because I wrote this down right there. Like, I really dig the texturing, like the metallic rendering on the freaking shaker. I really dug that. I don't know. I feel like a lot of anime get that wrong.
The metallic sheen of isekai. How can you say it's bad?
True.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Talk
don't-
about
It's just one of those shows where the backgrounds don't really fit the animation, and so I
Yeah.
can't feel, it just doesn't feel quite right. Also, I'm
I can
looking
feel that as well.
through the 2006 anime, and there's something very
Yes.
funny about the visuals cropping up immediately. The
What is
all the glasses behind the one guy, it's a real photo of a bunch of alcoholic
What?
beverages.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm seeing it.
It's using
What the fuck?
real-
I'm sending
oh
this.
yeah, this show
Beautiful.
has
Yeah, send
like
it,
no
please.
animation. Wow.
Look at this.
Yeah, it's been
Oh.
on this still panning shot for. Oh yeah, it's just
Wow.
Yep.
filled with real images. This is hilarious.
Is this by Studio Shaft?
Wait, is this?
No, it's
I
If
didn't
it
something
was
called
Studio
Palm
Shaft, it would have
Studio.
looked good.
Yeah.
True.
The only notable thing the studio's done is Genshiken.
Oh, I thought Genshiken was gone.
Oh my god, the
What?
the glasses on the bottom too.
The Genshiken showed up in the credits.
Oh. Damn.
I see.
Yeah, this is
Oh, by the
literally
way,
a
there-
slideshow. So
There was
yeah, this
one
is
more
a show that
thing-
needed a remake.
Yeah, I guess
There-
it's better than nothing. What did you say?
There was one more thing that I thought was actually pretty funny. I noticed in the credits. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was the production committee name, Bar Hoppers.
Ah, yeah.
That's so cool.
That's quirky.
That's
when they
awesome.
do
That-
that, when
that's
they name
great.
the production committees. I think they did it
Yeah.
for Bochi as well. Or am I wrong? I think they
I
might have.
believe so.
Yeah.
I think they did.
Isn't that a common thing to just make like, your committee
Yeah,
name like
it's pretty
fun related
common.
thing to your show?
Yeah. that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I know
love
they
it.
had
But
one
still,
for
it's
So was the
Dragon Maid,
committee
but I'm
name for
actually
Grandpa and
blanking.
Grandma turn young again, like something like Guilford Hunters or something like
Wait,
that?
what?
I don't know.
So this
thought
I
one.
you
did
were-
not
If it were
watch
me-
this one again, or did
So,
not watch this one. Yeah,
I wanted to watch this one, didn't have time, unfortunately.
I watched it.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Framing?
I didn't love it. I expected to like this because I usually love the freaking like the slice of lifey romance thing, and I noticed this was another one where people were weirded out because the jokes were kind of some of the jokes were a little inappropriate. Another thing that I usually expect to I don't know, attract me to to shows that are more old school, but there was so much of this show that felt like it was trying to be like a gag anime, but like none of the jokes were funny.
Yeah. So the point of the show is that grandma and grandpa turn young again. And that's the joke, and they keep repeating it, and they keep saying how hot the grandma is now and how hot the grandpa is now, and
Yeah.
they're all obsessing over them, and compared to the old people, now they're not old. That's the entire joke for the entire episode. They keep repeating that same joke for every different fucking scenario. And then I was like, I'm just wondering, what is the point of the show? Like I'm thinking of like, okay, the only scenario I can think of is like you're Takashi, you're 15, you're Japanese, you're watching your like Orihime or something, and then your grandma is walks into your room, is like, oh Takashi, what are you watching? You're watching. Can we watch together? It's like okay, and then he puts on this show. It's like, what else? What possible scenario could you want to watch a show about a grandpa and grandma turning young again? Like no anime fan is old enough to relate to this. Okay, and also it looks really cheap and slightly off, so. I don't know.
Yeah, like the only
what the fuck
thing.
studio is the who's Studio Gecko?
Studio
No, I have
Gecko,
no
that's the name?
idea.
Jesus.
I did not
Hey,
look
yo.
that
See, they have
far.
made Isekai One Turn Kill Nason.
Really?
That's
They
my
made
favorite
that one.
anime of all time. Wow, it's that
Yeah.
studio.
Oh my god.
It-
They also made the Temple
And
of
the-
the adaptation of a manga.
they're
I
gonna
like.
make the second season of Mao-sama Retry, the one with the not Rem, the blonde Rem.
No way. Yeah, maybe the show is goated.
I thought like the only thing that really looked good about this show, I say good, decent is the word. The character art was passable. Everything else I thought was pretty meh.
Yeah. Every time they moved, it was not good. I felt
I
this
thought it was-
goat in my soul. And I was like, no, I should be watching this. I could be watching like
They're-
Zero Experiments Lane instead.
Yeah, the reactions that characters had to the fact that they had turned young again were like totally all over the place. Also, like their freaking like younger family came in like totally shocked, like oh my god, what has happened? But then they like run into these old men
And they
at
don't,
the
don't
freaking.
they don't explain it. They're just like, hello,
Yes, I know.
hello.
They're
I'm
totally they're totally unfazed. They don't think anything of it at all. They just immediately accept that they've turned young again. I don't understand.
I don't understand the appeal. Please, if you're a big fan of this anime, tell me in the comments or whatever the fuck you can find.
I saw a lot of comments, well not a lot, but a couple of comments under the unnamed website where I was watching the show talking about how this show is like so relaxing and like people were basically saying, I mean, what you would expect, they're seeing it as a nice relaxing like slice of life romance. I just don't see it. There are so many better options than this,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah.
I
don't
could.
think-
There were so many moments where I was like, "Yep, that was supposed to be a joke. That sure was supposed to make me laugh."
Yeah.
Just by looking at the poster, I kind of feel like I would rather just have a show about and like an old farming couple in their like 50s or 60s, just being in love together.
By the way, how about the way that they just always called each other grandpa and grandma?
That's
like
odd.
their
I
names.
guess they do that as well, right? Right, in families, right? Like like the wife
Well,
just
yeah.
calls the husband dad sometimes because you have to have children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think.
that's just a cultural thing.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell by the freaking actual audio. Like I kept hearing like Oji-san and whatever the other one is. I can't remember. I could tell.
Oba-chan.
It was just a really weird, like very direct way to translate it. It was funny. It was fine. I just thought that was interesting.
Well,
I-
it sounds like there's not much to this show.
There's not much
Nah.
to it. Yeah.
There's really not.
Okay,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, in comparison, we have the moment you've all been waiting
Yes.
for, boys and girls.
Peak fiction.
The show everyone's been waiting for with bated breath. It's
This
time for
was-
Cunny.
Oh dear
Dude,
lord.
this was so unbelievably tame, though, dude.
I was bored out of my skull.
I
Yeah,
was
it's so
too.
boring.
Okay, okay, I
So
will say-
this-
I was just
Blue
gonna say,
Archive
if
fans
you
have
like-
some explaining to do.
What is Blood yapping about for the entire
This
show?
is your masterpiece?
What is the show about? Like in the first.
This is what you're gonna go to jail for?
uh,
You're really
according
gonna
to
risk
what I
your life of freedom for this?
do they really spam the crying laughing emoji for this? This?
I thought this was immediately the vibe I got from this was freaking Arc Knights. I have not watched
Did
the
you watch
actual
the Arc
anime.
Knight's anime? What the
No,
fuck?
I played the game
I
at
also
one
played the
point.
game, yeah.
I did not actually watch the anime, but I could as soon as they went into like an actual combat situation, I was like, okay, I can see that they're like trying to like do
Recreate the
freaking
mobile game.
they're trying to recreate strategy mechanics like in the battle, but it's so basic and so straightforward.
This is the
It was-
thing, right? Like Blue Archive
What little
fans,
I remember from the Girls Frontline anime, I enjoyed way more.
and also
I-
like from every person who I know who likes Blue Archive, they don't like the actual game. Like they hate the gameplay.
they just
they think the
they
game.
just want to jerk to the
yeah,
girls.
yeah. They think the gameplay sucks, and somehow they're like, okay, we're gonna adapt the
Wow.
gameplay. Then it's like, why?
The
Also, I thought the meme of Blue Archives that they're all supposed to be, you know, like borderline criminally underage, but
Really?
they
It's all
look
over
like
the
high
place.
schoolers.
Mm.
I thought there was a
All
decent
these characters were high
variety.
schoolers.
Yeah. Obviously,
Am I missing something? Or do the fans like de-age them on purpose? Is
okay,
it a
the
joke?
freaking premise was like well, once again, like it took me back to Arknights in a sense that there's this ongoing war between these factions of sorts, but like the factions are just other high schools and they're all connected
And
to
then
like
nobody dies. Like nothing happens. They're like, oh, I'm gonna shoot you 5 times in the face. Nothing happens. Like,
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
get. I saw like there was this one shot of a city that's like completely buried in sand. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
shit, that's like a weird post-apocalyptic, but we're trying to rebuild, and this is like a world set after like an apocalyptic event.
They
And they're like,
said
you know, they're remnants and factions still fighting. No, but they're just like they're joke fighting. They're shooting each other with guns, but there's no killing. They just break each other's helmets, and they get like they almost look like they're might as well be functionally BBs.
like the
Okay,
only
there was
the only like
literally
The funny part about it is that opening scene is so tonally bizarre because it shows
Yeah.
this really dimly lit city and, you know, they're gadding people, and then it cuts to her on the train with blood dripping down her as a bopping
I forgot about the cold
soundtrack
open.
comes on in the background.
Yeah.
It's Blue Archive time. Welcome
Blue
to the
Archive
anime
time.
you've all been waiting for. Come on, let's get a round of
Okay.
applause in the back. Yeah, that's right. You who's
The
not
lore.
clapping, you start clapping now. And I'm like, huh?
huh?
Why
Okay,
would
so,
you put
like, the-
that song over this scene of a girl bloodied, blood is dripping down her?
Yeah,
I
she's
cannot
like
stress this
alluding. She's like alluding to the fact that she like took on the responsibility of like killing her sensei or something like that. It's
I don't
such a strange cold open, and then like the entire rest of the episode is just
Has nothing to do with
like-
it. Nothing to do
yeah,
with
nothing to do with it at all. The freaking lore of
is
this
this
was
supposed to be like one of the final scenes of the show, and then we're like
I-
you're starting at the end, and we're
Oh, we're
like,
doing
see,
a good ol'
here's how
in
we got
media
here.
res.
It's also
But-
possible that that's just like a popular character that they wanted there at the beginning. I wonder if that's why that happened. Obviously, this
I
is
know
like
nothing about Blue Archive outside of the culture.
Yeah,
the most I know about Blue Archive is that people want to bang the chubby one, and the funny, the
The
dancing.
chubby one isn't even chubby,
girl to
according to
sexy
what I've
back.
been told.
Oh, of
Apparently, it's just like some meme. So they don't even have the balls to make her actually chubby. But
Man.
Okay, I thought
so
the
my
that was
backstory
true.
with this show is that one of the people in my server actually worked on the Kaleido subs torrent of it. In Minecraft, obviously, I do not condone piracy. Of course.
Yes,
Why would I
yes, of
ever
course.
suggest
Of
such a
course.
thing?
Yeah.
Someone
Oh,
in
yeah,
my
this is
server did the
unlicensed.
timing,
So weird.
The rapscallion, the horrible person he is, he did the timing for the subs. And so I
Uh-huh.
watched them on the I watched them on Crunchyroll. And
Yes,
so
Crunchyroll.
Of course.
yeah, I mean I feel like I owed it to him to not watch it with his subtitles. Obviously, I would never do such a thing.
Yes.
But you know,
course.
he said that the show was good, and that's where I draw the line because
Yeah.
it's part of an increasing number of anime. I said this about Yozakura Family, where the character art looks fine. The girl with the cat ears, the Azusa looking one, she, you know, had some.
Which set of
interesting
ears does she hear out
expressions.
of?
Yeah.
Well,
the
that's
question.
that's the joke with all cat girls, but but yeah, like the black-haired one, you know, she has some cute expressions, I guess. But the thing is,
I like
This
that
show
elf
is so
with the
bright.
glasses.
this show is so
Yeah, why
overwhelmingly
is it so
bright.
bright?
Yeah.
And it is like, and the thing is, right? So Blue Archive is theoretically interesting in terms of its setting. There's this
The lore is
desertification
fascinating.
going on. and it's taking over the world. And so they're in this abandoned school. Now, what I think of when I think of the world is turning into a desert, and there's this deserted school, is these very like calm, silent shots of a brown, yellow, rusted over school. The classrooms are dirty at some places because there's not enough people to clean the entire school. Abandoned desks in classrooms scrolling by. You get a nice sunset in there. And then, you open the show with all this atmosphere, and then it's just two people in a room, surrounded by the quiet of the desert. Maybe some howling wind beyond the windows, and they just start having a conversation, and you slowly weave in some of the characters, and then the gravity of the situation washes over the viewer as they realize these are the only people in the school. They are stranded here, essentially. There is no one else willing to go to this school. But actually, that's not what it is at all. She just...
Not at all.
The deadpan cat girl says
She
to the
gets on a
sensei
cycle, she
who
goes to the school.
Who she finds lying ass up in the air. She takes him on a tour around, and that's how we learn. Oh yeah, there's everything's turning into a desert, and we're the only 5 people at the school. Even though before this point there was nothing to suggest that they were the only ones here. We did not open with the most interesting part of the setting, that they are the only ones here. We had that exposited after the fact. Even though, imagine how good of an opening that would be. That's such an interesting scenario of being abandoned in this school and of making that have a lot of impact. But instead, it's just kind of like, yeah, we're the only ones here. Thanks for coming, man. You gave us more resources. And by the way, and this frustrated me to no end. The girl, alright, so she brings back the sensei, the twink sensei that everyone's going crazy for because he finally has a face. And she brings him back, and everyone immediately thinks, oh, did you kidnap him? Quick, we'll have to have our life of crime together. Let's cover it up. And I'm like, why is that your first thought? I asked some Blue Archive fans about this because they've infested my server. Infested is the word I'm using here, by the way. And
Fair.
Apparently she is a criminal. Like, she has thought about robbing banks. So this is like within.
Well, they're in
character
like
for her.
hundreds of thousands of they're in so
Dollars
much
of
debt.
Yeah, and so
Yes.
and so she wants to rob a bank for that. But they don't establish that about her character before they do that. And so it just is like, why would you think that? Why is that the first thing that comes to your mind? It just registers as like generic anime hijinks of, oh, they have to have the wacky misunderstanding. This show sucks.
It's bad.
The one thing I laughed at, I have to say, like she comes along, sees the dude in the road, thinks like he's having a heat stroke or something. He's like, water, please. And she just says, here, energy drink. By the way, I'm pretty sure my subtitles were freaking AI translation. These subtitles were so bad. Did you know, maybe this has changed since I found out, but you see how popular like Blue Archive is. This is not licensed unless something has changed since last I checked. Like no one
There's no
had the
legal
balls
way to watch
pick
this
up.
or Girls Band Cry, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so
it's
sad.
so strange. You
Well,
would think those
obviously,
would both.
watched
Yes,
the
yes,
hero,
Crunchy watch it legally.
the copyright hero,
Of course.
Yes.
watched it legally on
Legally.
Kaleido Subs, I mean
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll.
He bought the Blu-ray
I would
and he subbed
never
it
pirate
himself.
anything, you guys.
Yes, exactly.
I would never do something so heinous.
Yeah.
I was so like weirdly fascinated by how strange the lore and stuff was. Like you
What?
mentioned the desertification. I kept wondering if that was a double entendre because like not only is the desert around the school, like there are buildings turned upside down in the sand, but also the school is deserted. Also, there's like a super high school at the center of all the other high schools, and like it sends out like the teachers and the ammo refreshes. It's so weird. You can really tell this is an adaptation of
a video game.
game.
Of a
It's
shitty mobile
very
game.
obvious.
A bad mobile game. Fucking oh
What
god. In the middle of the
else?
gunfight, Sensei, so he's so retarded. I hate him so much.
Oh my
like in the
God.
middle of the fucking gunfight, he asks a question. Why is he so retarded? Why is he so retarded? I thought he was supposed to be like a twink that everybody loved. And
No, but dude, like, he comes out and they go like full, oh my god, we're going strategy mode now. Like,
and he
now
does
we're
nothing.
like
He just
organized.
goes, Hoshino, go there. The other bitch, go there.
Yeah.
That's all.
Like, all they do is like Gatling Girl, like, climbs up top and uses her Gatling gun. Like, Kiriko, like, runs out into the middle of the melee because she's like small and agile. And like the freaking nurse girl, like, she sneaks through because she's all like sneaky. She's not powerful. She's like mischievous. It's so basic. The sad thing is, I thought like the animation was really kinetic for the most part, other than some weird CG moments. I thought it looked pretty good for what it was. The music, I really enjoyed the music. But like the fight choreography is non-existent and the writing is so basic. It's
Well,
just
see, the thing with the show is that like the characters, I mean, they don't move a whole lot, but you know, they've got some cute expressions, like I said. But the issue is the compositing, the backgrounds, the colors especially.
I
Dude,
knew you were going to complain
It's the
about this.
entire. I mean, I talk about
Package.
colors pretty much every show because
Yeah.
I'm passionate about good color schemes, right? The colors are just
Yeah, like
so
the
wrong.
moment I seen the shot of her like in the dark, like trying to look all moody and stuff, I immediately knew you were gonna complain about it. There were also moments like where they done like big zooms, like the moment when they zoomed in on her hand while she was like scrolling through her phone. Her hand looked so wrong. It really made me feel kind of uncomfortable. It looked like her thumb was broken or something. There were moments that really took me out of it. The one praise I will give this show.
You always have a
is-
praise framing. Why can't you just like hate it, like all of us? Just hate something for all.
The funny thing is, I don't care about objectivity at all, but I thought it was interesting, like having seen a lot of shows and gacha games like this. I always feel there's a general complaint that the freaking designs are like totally overblown, but like in a way that's not interesting. These designs are very restrained.
To the point that they're not interesting. Look at Arknights.
Yeah.
You've played Arknights,
The-
right? Like every single
I-
character,
yeah, I
even from the
love
beginning,
Arknights,
they
dude.
have like different uniforms. They all look really cool, and they
Yeah,
have different like
yeah.
things. Everybody just has a stupid fucking halo on their face, not on their face, like on their, on top of their head, and just they're different hair.
Oh, I
and
hate
sometimes
the
a
Yeah,
cat
there's
girl.
just like
So
there's
this
like a cat
shows-
girl and there's glasses girl.
Yeah.
Just
This
little
show's
tiny.
aesthetic is I really need to hammer home how bad this show's aesthetic is conceptually, in my opinion, because Blue Archive, right? The idea behind it, you know, being this gacha game is that each girl needs to have like the super distinct design and needs to look cute for her own merits, so that you wail for the swimsuit versions that you can,
Yes.
I don't know, fap. And
Yes.
so each design individually will look good, but as a group, I don't think they mesh with the setting. Because the setting is like this, you know, run down desert, but everything needs to look relatively clean because these girls need to look pristine and beautiful. Even though in my
Yeah, they've gotta
version
be
of this
kawaii.
show, they'd be dressed in rags because they're
Yeah.
so starved for funds. And they'd, you know, just be dressed horribly, dirty, sand everywhere, like they'd be filthy. But on top of that, this show's primary color scheme is white and blue, which
Yeah.
clashes with the fact that it takes place in a desert. A desert's color scheme being like brown and yellow and orange and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
this is more like an
And-
oasis.
but all the guns and weapons are like bright white and blue. And it just doesn't nothing feels connected. And it also feels like strangely techno-y with the halos. It's got sort of that, you know, generic anime techno aesthetic while also being all these other things, while also being animated like a generic anime, except for the random shots where they decide to put in more soul. And it's just so, the mishmash of elements is it isn't working. Something
I will
something
say-
went wrong in this pipeline.
Something went wrong.
A
Something
few
went wrong.
things.
Yeah.
Even the moments where there was like soul put in, like, oh my god, that was like a clever camera angle. Some of them were just really kind of unsettling for some reason. The overhead shots of the city, I don't know, something about the scale just felt wrong to me. Like watching Kiriko ride by on the bike as you see the huge city in the background, and it's this weird like overhead angular shot. I did not feel like they pulled that off.
I don't have anything to say about the show anymore. It's not good.
It's not like this is one of those things where like obviously the appeal is cute girls, but they are not going to carry this.
They're also
Just
I don't
no
know.
way.
Yeah,
Not cute.
every time they showed like a slightly salacious angle, or like the cat, the silver-haired cat girl, and
Yeah.
her night clothing, and
Right.
oh hey, you get hard. This is your chance. Get that nut in quick, because you're gonna have to wait until next week for another episode of Blue Archive.
Yeah, but also it just wasn't even that titillating to begin with. Like you could
Yeah.
tell that was what they were going for. Like this is the moody lighting shot. We're not actually going to show you anything though.
Yeah,
yeah.
Look, all I'm
Not-
saying
not
is those
good.
cunnies should have been. Those cunnies don't belong in the archive. You do not want to preserve them for future generations. That's my
No
final note
No.
on this.
No,
show.
I like
I-
my. This might be controversial and maybe out of character, but I like my women a little more mature.
Ah.
Which
How
allows us
could
to
you
transition
say such a
nicely
thing?
into mysterious
Hey.
disappearances.
Mysterious disappearances.
You know,
Did you guys watch this one?
personally, I did not find it all that titillating until they aged her down. Then it was great. But you know what?
Listen, man, the
Classic
things that
Crunchy.
I want to do to Sumireko Ogawa, I cannot say because there is a minor present. So
I just thought,
let's just say it's the most. I have the most adult of intentions. Because oh, mama,
I'm sure.
How do you
I
design
don't
a
share
girl
that
that hot?
opinion. Like I was
I don't
just
share
just
that
remember-
opinion
the
either.
child thing, but I straight up, her tits are too big. It's too
Yeah,
much.
I wrote
It's
down
overkill.
hyper tit is hyper tit. That's all I wrote
Yeah,
down
yeah,
about
it's
There's a
her.
true,
point
but
where-
they make it work here.
There's a
I-
point where too many boobs is too many boobs, and you don't need that.
What am I
much
gonna do with all that?
That-
I don't know what to do with
That
all
sounds
that.
pretty gay, Crunchy.
True. You should know this about me though. But this show is part of that brand of ecchi show where it's like a completely normal anime until the point where
then
it
they
decides
just
to
have
get
porn.
sexual.
Yeah.
They just put it in randomly, but it doesn't mesh with the rest of the show. And the main way, right, that it tries to have this ecchi slant is by the main character who I hate. I hate the main guy. His eyes are always closed.
Oh wait,
He's
wait, the guy or the girl?
The guy.
the guy. The
right?
guy. The
Yeah.
girl I
Yeah.
like.
Okay.
She as soon as they told me she's a writer, I was like,
She was a writer.
best character.
Writer?
I love
Depressed?
I
Doesn't like
as
her
soon as I
work?
saw the show and I saw she was a former writer who's now like upset about her that she lost her ability to write because she thinks she peaked when she was younger. It's like, oh my god, like you could not write a character more suited for crunchy bagels.
But the problem
Yeah,
is that
I thought
she's
that was
trapped
kinda
in
relatable.
this show.
Yeah.
Like, this character,
this show.
great. Love it. I mean, that whole plot about her wanting to turn back into a kid was reasonably compelling. In any other context, that would be great. It's stuck in mysterious disappearances. It's stuck with this this schmuck. This guy who just continually sexually harasses the main girl
Yeah.
as the way to inject the ecchi into it, because he just tells her at work, oh, if I wait 10 I have it screenshotted here, if I wait 10 years you'll have matured into a truly attractive older woman. This is just sexual harassment. This is just straight up sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
she
anyway,
just
this is
kinda
better than the
laughs
first
it off.
episode of Bakemonogatari.
What did you say to me?
Kill yourself. Kill yourself. Absolutely. I have no regrets in telling you to off yourself now.
Okay,
Listen, it had a more compelling theme in Ogawa's struggle as a writer. It had a hotter girl
Then who? What? What are you talking about? Which girl?
And
I'm going to kill you either way. But
Hotter
just
than
like
Ogawa.
Hanekawa? Hanekawa was in the
Hanekawa?
first episode of Bakemonogatari.
Hanekawa does not have the ability to transform in from a child to a to
I thought you liked
Lukawa
mature
at
people. How's that
will.
like a perk for you? What?
Yeah, that's the best of both worlds. She gets the ability to now switch
Neon,
back
stop
and forth.
talking now, please. Cut
Stop.
yourself off while you're
Stop.
ahead.
Enough.
Just stop
Enough.
saying things.
Stop. Stop
Okay,
vocalizing words.
I actually thought this was a lot more tame than I think you make it sound. I obviously Hypertit is Hypertit once again. There is the opening sequence of the seemingly young girl like taking her shirt off from the back. Other than that, everything was just like
That
weird body horror. I have so many
see, the
questions
cut in
though.
the OP with her, like you were talking about the OP. The cut with her.
By the way,
tits out
one of
with
the best
no
openings
nip-
of the season.
No, it's pretty alright. I
Oh.
wasn't really trying. Maybe.
I
Totally
don't
forgot
even
about that.
remember it because it's been a while. But like that shot in
I
the
love
OP
the song.
of her tits
Mhm.
out, like they just don't have nipples. They just removed.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about mysterious disappearances.
Yeah.
I know, am I right?
Exactly.
It's okay. The sweat on her body more than makes up for it.
I feel like that works better in a supernatural series. I still do not love it, but
What if I told you that this is actually they're holding back Anya? This is a censored adaptation because there's nudity in the manga.
oh, then I should read the manga.
Hey,
see,
what
can't
what if I told
imagine-
you that this
Oh.
this manga has got the Akito Tsukushi seal of approval?
Huh. Okay.
Also, the
Well, I-
mangaka, his profile on AniList is this thing, and I thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It's a
That's funny.
blobfish.
Oh wow.
But see, the issue
That-
is, I mean, having actual nudity would make it less weird and jarring, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I just can't get over the fact that, I mean, first of all, the main guy, once again, is just awful. I hate him. His entire role in this episode is to be knowledgeable about the supernatural and sexually harass the main character. And that is...
True.
Yeah,
that
so
is what he
Araragi.
does.
I am going to.
Araragi had-
Okay, I have a question.
Araragi
Is he
didn't even sexually harass anyone in the first episode. It took a while for you to get to
3
that aspect
episodes
of
in
Araragi.
exactly.
It took a while for him to become a
3 episodes
sexual
to be exact.
deviant.
Sure, he wasn't good until he started
Molesting
Yeah.
minors.
That's what I was
I'm
going to say,
one-
but I cracked up too much.
I'm wondering. I know that this was only shown for like just a moment, but is he the freaking like black cat that was following her around? Are they the same?
I'm
Probably. I don't know.
pretty sure that's the case.
Yeah.
I also noticed like every character in this show just has freaking Rinnegan eyes for some reason.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's interesting.
I love the character designs in the show.
The character,
Um,
well, the main guy's design I hate. The main girl's design I like, except obviously,
Bro,
tit
she's
her
got like
down.
these circle eyes. She has a massive forehead.
True.
She's constantly has this like smirk on her face because when she discovered, like, you'd think that she'd be like a weird straight man to not a weird, like a straight man to the like all the things going on around her, and she's like being taken along for the ride with the, you know, knows more than he lets on mysterious main dude. But no, when she finds out that she can use this power to her benefit, and
Yeah.
like is like super into the occult, she like is about as on board as the dude is.
Yeah, that part was.
Oh. Okay, question. This was one thing where I felt like, and I didn't realize there was a manga I could be reading. Am I the only one who felt like the scene of her like using the powers made no sense in anime form? Like, how did it help her at all that she was like growing and then shrinking and then growing and shrinking? I don't understand how it helped her escape him, like in any way. I totally felt like I was missing something in that moment, something that wasn't
It's not
being
the most,
communicated.
I mean,
It's not
I'd
the most
have to go
well-directed
back.
scene.
I'd have
Yeah,
to go back
it
and
just-
look at it. I mean, in theory, it'd be, you know, sized down so that when he goes out to grab her,
I'm
you know, he
pretty
just
sure
grabs
she just
air.
like ran
but-
by.
But yeah, I don't remember any shot like that actually happening, and I feel like I would
Yeah.
remember that. So, I mean, the directing in this show is not particularly good. I do not
Yeah.
like how it looks. The Some of the backgrounds
thought-
in the bookstore I remember were just straight up filtered photos.
Yeah.
It was rough. And also, line of the century. One of the requirements for
Yes.
being able to use this book is, number 4, the reader must be a virgin maiden. And then I
Yeah.
wrote in my notes, can I stop watching now? Because that is the dumbest.
Hey,
that is
it's
so dumb.
They
So-
needed to throw a bone because she's 28 and she hasn't owned yet, so that way she seems more obtainable to the dudes reading it.
There
So
was a
stupid. I mean,
line-
first of all, with a body like that, seriously. But secondly, it's just we don't need to know. It's literally, it's just there for
It's
people
just sexual
who are, like,
harassment. He just wants to
weirdly
say it because he
Puritan
wants to
about
sexually
it.
harass the girl.
His
Well, I think it is
character.
an actual requirement because the reason why it's in the show is so that the audience knows. Oh, like
Yeah.
she's totally, she hasn't done anything with other guys.
She has
It's
not
like,
been deflowered
who
yet.
cares? Who
Therefore,
cares?
therefore it could be me.
There was also a
Literally,
line-
Who cares?
There was a line later in the episode, I believe it was after that, where she asks him, couldn't you be a little more decent? Like I can't believe that this is how you respond to the situation we're in. And his line is literally, decency. Was that something I had?
Very
Like,
likable character
they're-
who I like to
They're
see
very,
on screen.
They're very aware.
Hey, listen, man, I like asshole protagonists.
Right.
It depends on how you do it. Like I want to talk about more about, because I personally I didn't care about the cold stuff because they were like Japanese, and I just, there was some language pun thing there that, if the show was more better directed, I probably would have taken the
Ah.
time to deduce. But I like the
Right.
well, I didn't like it, but I hated that the conclusion to this episode is them confronting the main guy confronting the girl about, hey, you should stop doing this. But she's like, oh no, but my books, nobody likes them, so I need to return to this time. And then he says to her, oh, I like your books, so please write the books as you. But the thing is, he said that before in like the first 5 minutes of the episode already. So the ending conclusion of this episode is just the same thing repeated again. Amazing
Yeah.
writing. I love it.
And it just like didn't work the first time, but did work this time.
Like, what the fuck? That's the stupidest shit. Like, I think maybe that happened like in ReZero once, and I remember it. It was really bad.
And the conclusion to the episode was just like this mysterious scene of him like going into this like underground library to return the book.
Yeah.
This is a bookstore that seems to be ran by some sort of creepy toy animal. And they say this could be exchanged for a ticket to a place called Yami. So I think this is definitely going to go into like a mystery direction. That's I think that's what.
I just can't care.
One
Yeah,
could
no, I
say
feel ya.
mysterious.
Yeah,
Curious.
this is definitely yes, mysterious disappearances. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And then
It's a
he
mystery horror.
mysteriously
It's got some
disappeared all
body
over the
horror
place.
stuff. Yeah, I couldn't see myself watching any more of this one either, really. But
This was
that's
bad.
definitely
It
the
was
quote unquote
bad.
appeal.
It was bad.
I will be watching more purely for best girl of the season, Sumireko Ogawa.
Out dare
Nice.
you when the Momoka from Girls Band Cry exists. Out dare you.
Does Momoka have mammoth tits and is also a writer?
They're too big.
That's what I thought.
Too big. Too
They're
big.
too big.
Too big.
Well,
Can we talk about something good now?
Well, yeah, but now we got to move on to a less interesting show.
no.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night is anime of the season.
Close. It's close.
I was
I'm pretty
surprised
close.
by the fact that it wasn't my anime of the season. But I have an interesting story with this show, which is that I watched the first half like a week ago, and then I watched the second half last night. And the interesting
Interesting
story
decision.
behind that is because we actually had to delay podcast recording because I was having horrible back pain. And
Oh,
it was
rip.
literally so bad that while I was trying to watch this episode, I couldn't focus on anything. So it's like, okay, well, I give up. I'll finish it some other time. And I watched the rest of it last night and enjoyed it. Whereas I hadn't enjoyed it too much before for obvious reasons. And so this is probably tainting my perspective on the show in some regard. Granted, there are still things that bothered me in the second half of the episode, which we'll get to. But overall, I think it's like it's a really good show. I think it is
Bro,
genuinely good.
finally an anime with soul, with dialogue
Crazy.
that is snappy
Yeah.
and felt like it was written by an actual writer with a human pulse and not a husk of a human being, with directing that's inspired and creative.
The directing is
and not, you know,
the directing and
flat
vibes are
and
so good.
The vibes are
non-existent.
amazing.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Like the
so
colors
this was an
for
anime
everything are
original.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
it's
an
got
anime
that-
Yeah,
That neon
it's a
aesthetic.
Doga anime
Oh, my
original
lord.
written by the Tomazaki-kun author. So this is like a
Ah.
match made in heaven for crunchy bagels.
Yeah, and
So
I mean, I will inevitably watch all of this. When I do, I'll have to rewatch the entire first episode in full, just to know what it's like if you go from front to back. But I also, and this is interesting, I think this is one of those shows that you should only watch at night, at least based off of the first
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, for
Because,
sure.
I mean, I did that
yeah.
for Call of the Night, and
Mhm.
then, funnily enough, the first half of the episode I watched during the day, and the second half I watched at night. Well, maybe that's another contributing factor as to why I loved watching it last night.
It's got such
Yeah.
an atmosphere.
Shots
It
are
is.
fucking
And, and it's a
It's-
and it's like it's not even it's a high school girl show
Yeah.
about primarily music, but about artistry as a whole.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like the fact that it's able to capture that like nightlife young person energy
It's got
is
this
so palpable.
Yeah,
The-
the lines, I really love how they try to capture like the comfort and freedom of wandering around the town, like such a big town that nobody really recognizes you. I really related to that as a fellow city boy. Like, damn.
See,
That
I
is
can't relate
real.
to that because I find cities terrifying because I hate
yeah.
other human beings.
That's fair.
But
I like the idea
But
of
I
getting
just-
lost in
I-
the crowd though.
Yeah, lost in the crowd. Nobody
I-
knows
Yeah, when
you.
she,
Crowd.
I was enamored when she walked into what is essentially a fucking party city, looking at Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
And just her looking at a rack, a shelf of costumes on a rack, I was like, "Damn, this directing goes insane." I'm having fun watching this character bum around Party City for a couple minutes.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
but,
got like the
the-
same.
oh, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say it has like the same sort of neon aesthetic as like you mentioned Call of the Night. Also like your boy Kong Ming. I kind of got some of the same vibes as that. I think anyone who liked your boy Kong Ming or Bochi the Rock is probably gonna like this. Like this show goes so deep into like artist struggles, like lack of confidence, drive, burnout. Like yeah, and obviously it's more lighthearted than that makes it sound in a lot of ways. Also the direction, like you said, I love all the freaking the way that they implemented like social media jokes and like the shots of people like taking photos of each other with the cell phones, like with the freaking cell phone UI and the freaking
I mean,
borders and
okay, I
frames.
kind of groaned. I kind of groaned when the show begins.
Okay.
I kind of groaned when the show begins with Mahiro's sister. That sounds like Onimai, but it's not. It's this Mahiro filming her
Yeah.
and doing her fucking exposition for her. But then it turns into like commenting on like social media and virality.
I fucking love
Yeah.
that. I love that
Yeah.
she was recording her the whole time.
Yeah, like, eventually
And
makes
was-
sense.
And just like trying to like make it for a joke to upload on like TikTok or some
Yeah,
shit.
Dude,
shows-
this is gonna be a thing long term, I think. 'Cause I noticed some similar shots in episode 2. We also find out in episode 2 that one of the characters is literally a VTuber. So that's
yeah,
interesting.
that was in the premise, so I saw that before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I like
did
how it's
not
showing
read
that social
that.
media is corrupting the souls of our youth. I support that.
True. True.
I mean, I will say the opening
Um,
conversation where her elementary school sister is like, the sleeping face of a high school girl is like one of the most treasured things in the world. I'm like, that's a phebiophilia. Is that what it's called? I forget which one.
Ephebophilia.
is
I
which.
think that is correct.
But that's just, and then it's also like immediately followed up with by a shot of the main character, a rather
It's
revealing.
like, why? I don't understand. Yeah, there's
I'm
a few
like-
shots like that in the show.
I mean, the shot was, personally,
It was
I give
very
a seal of
reminiscent
approval.
of
Without the
I
context of that
enjoyed it, not gonna
conversation, I would have liked it. But with the
I felt
context
it
of
was-
the conversation, I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, the recording aspect was really what made it weird and creepy, if anything. But I kind of appreciated the framing in that it really reminded me of some of the similar shots from the first episode of Oshi no Ko, that was a little more subtle with like the freaking like it's a weird thing to say, but
Yeah,
the cleavage is just
Yeah,
kind of there in the background.
yeah. Speaking of framing and amphibiophilia.
Oh lord.
Hey man, say what you will. I will say there was some soul in that one shot of Mahiru bending over for the camera to peek down her
Absolutely.
bra for like a minute straight.
Yeah, and then like slowly peeking down to the socks as she like makes fun of the fact that she has like playful socks, even though she's trying to act like an adult.
It's
There-
like that one shot from Evangelion of Asuka like on all fours, so that way her tits are hanging down.
Okay.
Yeah, but
real
that
recognizes
shot from Ava
real.
was like, putting you in Shinji's shoes, and it was like really interesting. In
And
the
this one is
context
just-
of the
Hey,
plot
hey,
of the
this shot was putting you in
episode.
the sister's shoes, and it was just as
I
interesting.
don't want to be in the sister's shoes in this context.
Yeah.
So real quick, I gotta shout out the director, Ryohei Takeshita, who has directed his other shows, including Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, Pokemon Paldean Winds, and a little show called Arrow Manga Sensei.
What?
Oh, what?
I didn't know that.
Can we get a peak fiction in chat, guys?
I hate Eromanga Sensei.
Really?
but
I
okay.
thought that was you like the offensive
from
shit.
what
are
I
you talking
remember,
about?
I
Glad that
did-
Arrow Manga
as
Sensei
bad as that
exists
show
for
is, the
Digi
direct-
and Best Guy Ever's podcast
Yeah.
on it that I have
Yeah,
listened
that was
to
hilarious.
multiple
I
times.
remember the directing of the
A-
show
a
being
million
actually
times.
somewhat slightly above average.
Arrow Manga Sensei?
It was better than
Mm.
the show deserved.
Really?
Hmm.
I like the episode, and when they covered episode 11, the guttural scream from Guy as he discovered that there were emo characters were in the show. That was my favorite part of the entire
Yes.
podcast.
Oh yeah, I put that in my own
Mind
video.
blown.
Ah, great.
Did you? Oh, I forgot. I need to
Yeah,
go
I
back
did.
to-
Beautiful.
Oh shit. That's cool.
I-
Oh god, I'm trying to quiet.
Uh,
scream,
my-
it just
my
came out as a
problem-
voice crack.
My problem with that kind of thing starts at the point where the character dynamics themselves start to I don't know, create characters who I cannot root for. I think that's when I actually start to have a problem. I have no ability to take freaking anime ages seriously. I just cannot do it. I don't know what else to say. It's the character dynamic and the writing that bothers me more than anything.
Well-
that is what makes the fan service feel weird to me, not the fan service itself. And which is why it didn't really bother me at
Hey-
all here.
Well, thank God.
Hey
that,
man,
the
that
character
one
dynamics
shot
are
where they
good
paid
here.
homage to Black Swan and Perfect Blue when she's screaming in the bathtub. That one hard.
I also really liked on the direction we mentioned the freaking social media stuff. The freaking aspect ratio shifts for some of those shots were like straight up like TikTok vertical shots, like completely vertical, total black backgrounds. It worked way better than I thought it would have, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially coming
Dude,
off
some of the snappy cuts in this episode,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
jump cuts when she's screaming in the bathroom, it does so much to keep the episode's pacing up. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
The show feels alive. It feels like it has something to say and like demands to be watched.
Yes. Also the freaking performance. I loved the performance at the end. All the different perspectives, like the
That one sweeping camera shot,
Right.
the
beautiful.
sweeping
Right.
camera shot, and then
I
like
wanted to love that. I really wanted to. I have some extenuating.
What do you mean you wanted
circumstances
to
that we
love
can
it?
get to. The directing
Uh-huh.
was on fire, but I have some reservations.
I will say that there were moments during that sequence where I was thinking, and I know this is weird, comparing it to something else immediately, but it almost did seem like a less well animated version of the first musical performance from your boy Kong Ming. I could not think of it, given the hair color, the framing of the shots and everything, the sweeping camera angle. But I loved the moments where the camera angle like popped to the elevator in a totally different building, like as it was creeping up. The shots of the other girl whose name I cannot remember at the moment,
Kano?
like
Mahiru?
Kano, like pushing people aside as she like ran up to give her confidence boost. I loved all of that.
I
Very-
love the shot where she's like stalking Mahiru's stalking Kano, trying to follow her,
Yeah.
and she loses her at like a cafe or something. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then she just turns around and she's like already standing
Yeah.
right there waiting for her.
Kano really, both of these characters are compelling in their own ways, but I loved Kano's character. Just
Yeah,
from
Kano-
her backstory.
Kano has one of the best designs of the season.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love
that is
the
like
pins
so
on her beanie.
Mm.
I love her colored hair. It's like it's a
her
perfect
blonde hair
color
with little
scheme.
blue highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she's
How spiky
Oh,
it
and I love
is.
how you'd expect her to be like one of those shark teeth characters with sort of a fangy look.
That's what
She
she's
just
missing.
have,
She's
like, the
missing shark
soft-
teeth.
No, but I kind of like that she
I
just
love
has the
it.
softest baby face imaginable because
Cleopatra.
she's an ex-idol, but she's
Yeah.
like completely changed her style. Like on its own, I would have said
She-
she's missing the shark teeth, but with the context of her character being an ex-idol, I was like, actually, you're putting the character's backstory in the design, and now I love it.
Yeah, she really did. I keep mentioning your boy Kongming, but she really kind of reminds me of like a somewhat younger looking version of Eiko Tsukimi, which I'm way into. I loved the freaking Halloween dress up designs. Like I like
Yeah, how
those a lot.
inspired is it to make the first episode take place on Halloween?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that too much.
It's
anime.
got personality, man. It's got soul.
Yeah.
But like, I think more than
And
anything,
it's thematic. The Kano dresses up as a devil, Mahiru an angel.
I can be your angel, your devil.
but also like her background of like coming from an actual idol group where they clearly had some sort of, I don't know if it was creative differences or their personalities just didn't jive.
Enough to make her punch a
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah, enough to make her punch her. Like they get into this argument. No idea what the argument was about, even after watching episode 2. But they get into this argument, go their own separate ways, and like clearly she has like this tinge of regret, even though she's still trying to do her thing. Like she's doing it all anonymously because she has, all of this baggage surrounding her public persona. It's so fascinating, and like not only do they go into that, the artist girl, like they go into like her lack of confidence because of the fact that her friends like didn't like her style of art. There's all this interesting stuff about like psychological issues that not just musicians but artists go through, not on just art itself but the way that they interact with other people.
Yeah.
I freaking love the dialogue in the show.
Yeah, I'm into everything the show represents.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean
I-
the whole
What?
the whole arc of the main character of being this person who used to be like, she was this child prodigy artist in a sense, or like
Mhm.
good at drawing for her age, but was eventually made to be ashamed of that, and has harbored this feeling within her of, oh, I should just keep my head down and stay ordinary. Dude, when we got to the scene where the yellow-haired girl, I'm so bad with names.
Kano.
Kano. When Kano is like, oh, yo, you should be the artist for my album, and she clearly wants to say yes, but then it just smash cuts to the train, and you're like, oh, she
Her
said
bitch
no.
ass said no.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's such a gut punch, but I love it.
Everything about how this episode is constructed is like a fucking masterclass. Even something as like innocuous as the socks that she wears near the beginning, and how she's
Yeah.
like kind of embarrassed by them, but she just likes them because they're cute. And she tries to like justify it to other people by saying, no, they're cheap, so
Yeah, they were on
they were
sale.
affordable. and they're like moments throughout like the episode where she's passing by those same pairs or kinds of socks being sold at shops, and people commenting on them like, oh, they look so cringe, dude. And at the very end, when she trips over like a little ledge and her shoe comes undone, and Kano sees the sock that she's wearing, and she tries to cover up how much she likes it, Kano just compliments her. And and then she like finally like gives in like, yes, aren't like they're so cute, aren't they? And I'm just screaming, kiss, kiss.
Yeah, I love their dynamic and how Kano inspires her to like open up, like, to take another chance at this creative thing, because Kano's her biggest fan in this. And like the moment I really started liking Kano is when she just straight up showed Yoru her YouTube channel, because like I'm not gonna compare like covers to like a 40-minute video about how like Oshinoko is bad, but it took me fucking years to tell anybody that was making stuff online, and it was like she just showed it to a person. It's like, wow, mad respect, like this kind of like readiness to show people stuff, to be like, let's get involved, let's do shit. That's awesome. I love that kind of person. Yeah, in real life as well.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
only
compared.
What?
I was just gonna say, compared to Mahiro's reservations, how now, because of all the criticism she received of her jellyfish mural that she painted on a wall, that she like got so embarrassed by her friends criticizing it and calling it lame that she went out of her way to hide that she was the one who drew it, and even went back to it
To
one day to
cross
just
out the
cross
name.
off her
Yeah.
name on the like the little credit for it. And then having it come back later to be like, when she sees this one TikToker YouTuber doing performances in front of the mural but covering it up with her posters. There's this one part where she like wants to like say like, hey, don't defile my mural with your and cover it up with your posters like that, but she doesn't have the balls to do it. Yeah, and so like it plays it like the idea of it in her head, but then just rewinds, be like, yeah, right, like I could actually say that.
I loved that.
I mean,
The final. Oh, go ahead.
okay, this I really have trouble relating with this whole "don't defile my mural" thing, because on the one hand, yeah, I hate TikTokers, and she's like a really tacky singer, but on the other hand, it's street art. Like I feel like the idea behind street art is that it is part of the background, I guess, where it like livens up the background, but it's just a part of the surroundings that you just nod and accept and go like, yeah, that's pretty. And like, sure, she clearly lacks respect for the art that she's putting her poster on, which is, it's clarified later when she says, oh, this scribble, but when she puts, I just can't relate to the perspective of like, oh, she put her poster over it, she's defiling it. I can't imagine caring about it. I really can't. Like, I've tried so hard to like trick myself into thinking, oh yeah, I would totally care if someone did. I can't care. I literally cannot bring myself to care.
What are you talking about? That's her like, secret pride and joy, and someone's plastered up her tacky self-promoting posters all over it.
I think
I can't imagine caring.
I could buy that from like Kano's perspective, because she's the kind of eager person, and she really, really loves this mural. So I can see her being like over defensive about it. So I don't know, but I don't relate much to Kano in general. So
it's that contradiction that makes it interesting. How she's like she's trying to distance herself from it by like removing herself as the identity of the person who made it, but at the same time she doesn't want it to be covered up, and like it has been like graffitied on before, and like I'm sure she isn't like too keen on that, but the fact that it's just being like completely just covered up, like not even like being added to with different levels of greedy, because she adds to the mural herself at the end with that lipstick and makes the face on the jellyfish. So she is like willing to add to it, but to see the poster just completely covering it up and hiding her work, that she cannot abide by.
Taped piece of paper. You can she can just take it off after she's done. But
she did. She took it off. Yeah, she went over and she ripped those posters down, saying, "No, fuck you. You cannot defile my art like that."
I thought.
What do you mean she's an asshole for that?
Okay, I thought there's this TikToker is like doing her own thing, right? And granted, I have zero respect for TikTokers. I hate to be defending her like this. But like, she's doing her own thing, and sure, she has her poster up. Who cares? I mean, I really cannot bring myself to care. But then Kano barges onto the live stream and is like, "Hey yo, give me the mic, give me this platform." And she for some reason
she's also singing
her
song in a tacky way.
I don't care that she's singing her song in a tacky way. Like, sure, it's bad. I don't care. I cannot bring myself as an artist to get mad at that. I just see it as like, oh,
All right,
okay,
Crunchy.
she's
What if
she's
you were
being
trying
bad.
to like? I know there's no like direct equivalent to it because it's music and like a mural versus YouTube videos. But like imagine you're trying to push your Onimai video to the masses, to people who would appreciate it, and then some fucking TikToker comes along and
And stitches like a fucking duo with
upstages
it.
you and uses your platform as a way to be like, hey, check out my shit, and how like you slop and like they're pushing up their slop while hiding your thing that you like poured your heart and soul into.
I think the
I'd be
distinction.
like, okay, I mean, they're well, see, there's another distinction here because they're like barging onto her live stream in real life and then tearing down the poster in front of her viewers, and they're just being I can't see this.
Yeah,
as
don't
anything but
don't
being an
compromise your artistic integrity.
I
That's the
I
message.
don't want to
On
go
both
that far. I
sides.
can't see that being justified. Like, I don't care how tacky she is.
What do you mean you can't
Her
see that being
only
justified?
Her only crime is being bad at music and TikTok or whatever. That's her
Okay,
only
so-
crime.
Yeah,
and,
therefore
like, I
she
guess
needs to
putting
be
her
sent to the
poster
fucking
up.
gas chamber.
Oh,
Wow,
no, this is
she's
a bit too
Remember,
see,
we
like,
hate
I get it.
TikTokers
Look,
here.
I get it. This entire podcast, I've been making fun of bad anime and calling it bad. I feel like there's a difference between saying it online and like giving it, a fair shake critically, or I guess not sometimes not the fairest shake, but I may be
Crunchy, you
biased,
should be standing up and applauding this moment, and
I
like
am not
pushing for the show
standing
to
up
be
and
the most
applauding
popular
this
of
moment.
the season, instead of having shows like fucking the Shota Prince Isekai
Well,
with the
okay,
thighs.
Obviously,
Like
that is
outranking
much
it. Here,
worse
here,
than this
here.
show.
Let me read you a list of shows that has a higher user count on Mal right now.
Oh no.
Reincarnated Aristocrat. Whisper Me a Love Song.
Okay.
Re-Monster. Chillin' in Another World with level 2
No,
cheat
no,
powers. A Condition Called Love. Unnamed
just
Memory.
sad.
Grandpa and Grandma Turn Young Again.
Neon.
What?
Reincarnated
Neon, I
Seventh
get it.
Prince.
It is annoying
Archdemon's
that
Dilemma.
bad
Elf
shows
Bride.
get more popular than good shows. I don't care. That does not make me suddenly be like, oh yeah, rip down her poster on her like run onto it and tear down her poster. Like,
I think
I just
the
can't. I can't see that as anything other than being an asshole. I genuinely
distinction-
cannot.
I can't believe that after all these years of doing the podcast, this is the exact kind of message that bro, you sit upstairs, you skip the isekai.
I
Well,
did skip
Like
the isekai.
and yet yeah, so how could you be against a message that would like the equivalent
I
to
don't
this
go
would be,
up to their
hey,
live stream and tear
fuck
down
all
their
these other
posters in
isekai, you
front
should
of
be watching
everyone.
Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
I
say
have
that
no
on like my
idea
own
what-
platform. I don't barge onto their live stream and tear down their posters. That's where I draw the line. That's where I just think
I
you're being
think
a
the
dick.
You mean
The-
to tell
the-
me you wouldn't barge onto
Mom and
Sniper
Dad,
Wolf's live
stop
stream
fighting,
and
stop
be
fighting,
like, fuck
Mom and
this
Dad.
gay shit?
okay. You
Yes,
two are going nowhere.
wouldn't.
You
I
should-
wouldn't.
Here's the distinction.
Well, it sounds
that
like
I-
you need to grow a pair.
I think the distinction that kind of has to be made, and there's something tied to this that I'm kind of like half liking, half not liking about this. The distinction is the difference between like collaboration and just covering up or quote unquote
Exactly.
defiling someone else's work. Oh, in both cases, I would say covering up the painting is not collaboration. Neither is ripping down the poster. And so there are better ways both of those things could have been handled. What I'm not sure I know how to feel about is this show is definitely full of that, traditional anime, like empathy pilled type of thing. Like, even though they
Empathy-pilled.
empathy pilled. This is kind of an idea I've had worming around my head for a while. But like, like every show like this you watch, like all the people are just, they're so amicable, they're so understanding, they always have their context under which they're acting. And like, I found it really wholesome that once she pulled down the poster, she was just like, hey, don't do that. And then she just like continues apologizing, and they don't seem to like get into a real argument. I don't know if I like that part or dislike that part. That's the part I'm not really sure about.
The thing is,
See, no, that's what's great about it. It's like it's a great moment for her to tear down the poster, but in the actual like, grand scheme of things, who fucking cares? It's just a paper. It's not like she like
Yeah,
tears it
that's
up into
true.
a million tiny
Fair.
pieces and throws it in the TikToker's face. Then she'd be an asshole. No, all she does is she just like rips it off the wall so that way it's
Yeah.
not covering it up anymore.
I find
The
this
part
I
like,
feel like the difference between those two is just
It,
one.
it's her
an asshole
taking
and the
back
other's a
ownership
massive
of her
asshole.
art.
Mm.
I find
get
this exchange
I
really
want to
fascinating.
love the emotional context of this scene.
I
because
love
it
everything
should
about
be
it.
The most hype and
Be
big soaring
uncompromising.
emotions listen, it should be the biggest, most emotional moment of the episode. This should have cemented it as anime of the season in my mind. But it shouldn't have been on the basis of like, let's tear down this person's poster on their live stream. I don't even necessarily hate the core message of like, these people are garbage. Let's make something
I
good
feel like you're getting
instead.
weirdly hung up on this.
I
almost
am
like you've
very
gone through like
weirdly
a
hung
similar
up on this.
It sounds like you've gone through a similar like thing in your life that someone you were trying to do a thing and someone came onto your live stream or your performance or some shit and upstaged you.
I do still
this
think
did
in,
not
in
happen
both
to my memory, but maybe there's some repressed trauma. I don't know. But no, the reason why I'm so hung up on it is because it's the big moment of the episode, and I was
Okay,
just thinking, this
I
could
think
have been
the
so much
big
better.
moment, the big moment to me was not the tearing down. It was the moment when she like circled the signature that she had crossed out previously. That was the moment that I really felt. But I
And she
kind
draws
of
the face on it with the lipstick that she said like if you tried to use it, it would make you just look run of the mill.
yeah. But
Oh
what
my god, so good. And literally every piece of the buffalo has been used. Everything has like a Chekhov's gun.
well, once again, the one thing I do kind of relate with on what Crunchy was saying is this like lack of like collaborative tact in this scene, because they are both kind of like, one is just covering up the other person's stuff and the other is just ripping something down. I don't think it has to be necessarily oh god, I don't know what the word is, like rational action, but I can get why that would like grind your gears, so to speak.
This exchange has really fascinated me because I just realized that you guys have been really like taking what's happening on screen and taking it like super literally, like this would have happened in real life and all that.
It's youthful
Right.
artistic passion, and I will applaud that anytime I can.
Yeah, I can see that.
I still
Well, to me, it
enjoy
felt like
wish
it
I
was
could.
obviously. To me, it always obviously felt like a dramatic device, like it was trying to say something with that action. Like that was the main
Oh
thing.
yeah, yeah.
But I can see how I can totally see. Like I agree with you mostly, Crunchy, about these like logistics and the like the ethics.
Oh, let's
I guess
go.
of this issue.
Curious as base.
I also saw it as like a dramatic device, and I appreciate it on that level mostly. But yeah, it's just fascinating, brain expanding right now. Holy shit, you could be even more autistic about anime.
Oh, there are no limits.
What else do you have to say about the show?
Well,
I
I
I
think-
like
think
everything
that's,
else
uh,
about it. I'm just
Yeah.
really hung up on that one thing.
I like
mean,
that the director never wasted a moment to get a shot of Mahiro's thighs or any part of her body that she could somewhat inappropriately as he could.
I will say that
Mm.
my worry about the show is that yes, it's trying to cover a lot of things. Unlike Girls Band Cry, which
Yeah.
is just about music, this is also about VTubers, about cover singers, it's about artists. And I'm afraid that it's gonna get slightly kind of too general or something.
I
What?
There's also a
I highly
freaking
doubt that. I have the most faith in this show than I do any other show this season.
Yeah, me.
there's also a freaking like super fan who like is there to represent like
that's- yeah,
patrons
episode
of
2.
art.
That's episode
Yeah,
2.
yeah.
Yeah, and
There is a lot.
there's a lot going on, and I'm afraid they won't nail everything perfectly. But even if they nail like half of it, it's gonna be a really good show. So yeah, I'm not too worried.
I have been really impressed so far,
Mm.
and I felt maybe not quite as strongly about episode 2, but I still felt like they really nailed like these sort of artist archetypes, so to speak.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I'm hoping I'm probably gonna watch episode 3 later today. Hopefully it continues to hold up.
I feel like the
I
show
just
will only
love
get
it so
better
far.
from here, just because
Yeah.
this is my one issue.
Little
with
does
it, my
Crunchy know,
one big
they
issue.
tear down a TikToker's poster on her live
Every
stream every
episode.
episode.
It's the
Every,
ending
every-
gag.
it's
the
literally a
ending gag.
TikTok poster of the weekend
The final
anime.
episode.
Which one comes down? How will
They roll up to They roll up to Logan Paul's headquarters with a giant wrecking ball, and they knock down his giant advertisement for Pride.
You know what? That would be justified because Logan Paul is a scamming psychopath. I would
He
applaud
is a
that.
piece of shit.
But-
Piece of shit.
Yeah, Prime does
At
taste
least he
pretty
can
good, though.
wrestle.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like we've gone on long enough about Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night.
Just
and,
watch it, people.
Now we can
Just
move on
watch
to
it.
a string of shows that I doubt will have as much to talk about, like The Fable.
I surprisingly liked-ish this one. Asterisk. I'm not going to be continuing it, but for what I saw of it, I had fun.
Actually, I'm really surprised that they got
I-
Ali, the band that did like Lost in Paradise, the Jujutsu Kaisen ED, and the Beastars OP to do the opening. I was like, God damn, where did I get this power?
Oh, nice.
Their music is amazing.
Yeah, their music's great.
Didn't even know that. Yeah,
I knew that I loved the opening music. I just didn't know that was them.
It sounded kind of different, but like there's like 10
Yeah.
people in the 5 people in the band or something. They changed. The
Ah. Okay. Fascinating.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
so the Fable is about this old, well, he's not old, but he's a mafia dude, part of the Yakuza, and he's being forced against his will to live a normal life. He can't murder anyone. Oh, how terrible.
How
And
terrible.
So it's basically just about this guy who is used to gatting people on a regular basis, not gatting people on a regular basis. And I like that premise, and there's enough soul in the show to make it work. Like how, he right after murdering a bunch of people, then proceeds to watch this reality TV show comedy thing of this guy just jumping off a building or whatever it was, like jumping off a cliff. Some kind of high spot. It's
Yeah.
been a while since I've watched the episode once again. And he's just howling with laughter. He cannot get enough of it, which I loved. I guess my main issues with this is that the show does not look particularly good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the problem. That comedic
Yeah.
moment, I was just like, you are so dropping the ball in the visual comedy. I went and looked at the manga. It's not great, but I definitely think the visual comedy is better there. Like the laughing animation felt really stilted. I did not care
Oh, dude,
for
I just
the
remembered
direction
the
and the fight
funniest part of
scene.
the episode. When he orders
What's
the
that?
girl to blow on his food for him. I
Oh, yeah.
died at that. That's
was pretty funny.
amazing. I love that. Just for having that scene, it's one of the better shows this season.
I thought the show's freaking dialogue was like painfully expository though. Like moment to moment there was constantly someone explaining something. I mean just every single moment of the episode. I
didn't
I
actually.
didn't.
That is part of the reason I didn't finish this episode. But I also heard from Alex. Do you guys know that YouTuber? He makes manga videos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's a anime YouTuber, and he made a video a while ago, super popular one about manga recommendations, whatever. And he got recommended Fable, and he was like, "This is one of the best things I've ever read. I read it in one go." It's like, wow, that's high praise.
Ah.
So I wanted to read it. And I saw how terrible the anime looked, so I didn't watch further. But yeah, I mean, the gags
that
you're
makes
describing,
sense.
that actually sounds really interesting. So I want to read the manga now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
there's
was
this one
definitely-
spot where he okay, so he has to switch to a Kansai accent, and so he taps his forehead with his middle finger repeatedly and his eyes crossed to flip the switch in his head to a Kansai accent. By the way, this main character is implied to be a savant of some kind, where he's really good at killing people and being in the Yakuza, and terrible at everything
Yeah.
else. He always and this is actually one of the most annoying parts of the episode, he always speaks with this low drawl, where I think the voice actor is hamming it up a bit too much. He's committing to the character, I'll give him that, but it's a bit overbearing. It's to have every line of dialogue be in that low drawl. But
Yeah, well,
otherwise,
he-
it does sell him as being extremely socially awkward and, for lack of a better term, autistic. He's probably
Well, yeah.
autistic.
It
Yeah.
opens on a long string of lines about how there are geniuses in every field that exists, and then it ends with the whole like geniuses exist in the underworld too. And so this is about like this prodigy among hitman that people have nicknamed the Fable. Um, I I thought like you said, the voice acting itself, like he sounded very monotone, like drolling along. But then the girl with him also, like I felt like her performance was so stilted. Like it really almost sounded like a first take to me. I did not care for the voice acting in this one at all, and that usually doesn't bother me.
Mm.
I didn't
Um,
necessarily notice it with the girl, but with the guy, yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I thought it was a bit overbearing once again. But I guess the main issue with
I
this show, right?
did,
It's funny, it's got soul, the main
yeah.
character is fun, it just doesn't look that good. And it's not directed well
Uh,
either. Like that first scene where
Yeah,
they
they
have the
make the
action
act
and
of
it's
like
like,
him
What?
doing the
oh, go
killing
on.
just not interesting. It looks very boring.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like it's all. I mean, I have the scene up right now. It's so dark, so grayscale. It looks miserable. It does not. With this kind of show and the tone it has, I would expect it to be more like action packed and bombastic, and you go crazy with the action, even if it is in the underworld. And you do need to fit that aesthetic. Nonetheless, you can give it a bit more bombast. But this opening scene, it just looks kind of miserable. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's
It
way
does.
too
there were
dark.
there were a lot of other moments that I thought were pretty funny, like his freaking, like I think he had a gun that was like hidden in a hidden compartment in the side of his freaking toaster oven or something like that.
He
Th-
hides
he-
bullets everywhere. It's great.
yeah, to get around the rule of not being allowed to have a gun. He's just like, well, I'll take it apart and I'll hide a piece here, I'll hide a piece there. Like technically, I don't, like legally speaking, I don't have a gun at this moment. I thought that stuff was pretty funny. The moment of him knocking out the two random dudes in the parking lot was funny, but at the same time, I remember there was a moment where like he knocked them out and there was like no impact to the animation. Like I don't know if it was something about the sound effects or like a lack of good like impact frames or something, but it felt just so dead and lifeless for a moment that I felt like really should have had some impact to it. It's
See,
this
the weird
big
thing is that this
reason.
is a
Conclusion,
26
yo, looks
episode
bad.
anime. You'd expect
Yeah.
them to go a bit more all out if they're committing to that.
Yeah, this is being done by Tezuka Productions as well. I think the director was freaking Ryunosuke. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's so weird. I remember people talking about like based on who was working on this that it might be good, but it's really not. Yeah,
I wish
he
it
done
was
key
better.
animation for some of the Code Geass stuff, Samurai 7, Blue Gender, and yeah, it just I felt pretty freaking disappointed by this one. I feel like this is a major read the manga moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Yeah, like bright, shining text. Because however much I
Yes.
like the script of the episode and the main character, I just can't imagine watching a show with these visuals for any extended period of time.
Yeah.
But what about a show with the visuals like the Grimm Variations that I did not have time to
I
watch?
also didn't watch it.
I did
Please
not
don't
watch
tell
it
me nobody
either.
watched it. Framing.
Wait,
Oh god, Framing. Did you
Whoa.
watch it?
wait, what did you say?
The Grimm Variations. Did you watch it?
The Grimm Variations?
The Grimm Variations. What did I miss something? The next
Oh
one.
no.
The next one on my list is the mini sides of voice actor radio.
Wait, hold on. I put it on the list.
It is on the list.
No, it's
It
right
is on the
there.
list.
Grimm
How-
Variations.
How did I miss that? Grimm Variations.
So let's. What do you guys do in this
uh-oh.
situation?
I'm sorry. I don't know how it happened.
I don't think this has ever happened before. Now, no, the
this
title's
is,
inaccurate
no, it's happened
now.
before.
No.
It's happened before. Don't worry.
Has it? Has it?
It was when.
Okay, I was gonna say
we
no.
had
The title's
Kazu
inaccurate
on,
now. We
and,
did
like-
not watch every new show.
Oh no.
God, I feel bad. I didn't even know.
No, you're
about this
fine.
one.
I mean, we
Yeah.
also
I-
didn't watch it.
We also didn't
so-
watch it. Don't blame yourself.
Comments.
I
Tell
must
us if
have
it was
somehow.
good.
Yes, please. The Grimm
Yeah.
Variations by Wit Studio, surprisingly, which is like it didn't look very good from like the parts I skimmed, and then I realized it's 40 minutes. So that's kind of surprising. Besides that, I don't know. Maybe this is something about the Grimm.
The only
fairy
thing I
tales.
know about, I was gonna say the only thing I know about the Grimm Variations is that there's a big muscle girl with abs who has a giant hammer,
What the fuck? Why am I not watching
and
this right
that's
now?
pretty sick.
Oh. Huh. Yeah, I'll have
And
to.
that's about it. I
I'll
have
have
the
to
clip.
check this out.
Yeah, it's,
Unfortunately,
I guess
we do not have anything to say.
Dang.
yeah, we can judge it based on this one 30-second clip of a hammer abs lady.
All right, give it.
What do we think of
from one-
hammer
Well,
abs?
from
she
one-
sure
lady
do
here?
from
have a
1 to 10.
hammer.
Oh, okay.
Sure do
From
have
1 to
abs.
10.
And she sure do have a six-pack.
I like girls with abs. I like girls knocking down balconies. That I think is a 10
I
out of
am
10.
not much of a girls with abs fan myself, but that's neither here nor there.
I also don't really like muscular people in general. Not like personality wise, just
Mm.
like aesthetic wise. So, why is the show
How
like
curious is so
it's Wit
based to
Stu-
this podcast.
It's Wit Studio, so why does it look like
Huh.
that though? Like I thought they were good.
They probably got some different character designers or
Yeah.
something.
I'd give it a
Well
6.5
then,
to 6.
I guess we're saving some time then, so I guess we could just move on to the many sides of voice actor radio.
I actually, you know what? I like this one surprisingly more than I thought I would.
I did
Really?
not care
Same,
for this.
honestly.
I
What did you say?
didn't get very far into this episode, actually.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh, you guys didn't like it?
I didn't. I didn't
I-
like
Yeah.
it.
It's now a masterpiece, but it's I like it. It's
Yeah,
fun.
they were like,
The
the
characters,
highlights.
they have no. Their foreheads are too small.
Yeah, the designs are not the best.
What?
Dude, there are shots.
Wait,
there are
what?
shots. Oh my god, there are shots where the characters model. Their characters are like so off model. They'll do side shots, and the face is drawn
Oh,
like
I know.
a freaking
I
horse.
know exactly which one you're talking about, framing.
You
let me
seen it?
let me send it right here. You know this one, right? What is happening with their face?
Oh yeah.
They
Oh,
like
they're-
regularly.
that
Yeah,
happens
I
all the
remember
time.
that. And they have no
Oh, God.
forehead half the time. Sometimes it's weird because sometimes they do have a forehead, and then other times they don't. And it's like
They
well,
always
why
got a
is
nose.
this an issue? It's an issue that I don't think I've
Well,
seen.
Crunchy, they have your
this-
perfect type of girl, especially with her forehead. They have a disheveled, sickly-looking
Who's
girl
also a writer.
with unkempt
He's
hair.
also a writer.
Yeah.
This is
See,
who's also a writer. This is your dream girl, Crunchy.
Exactly.
but the show looks ugly.
Yeah,
It
the
doesn't
show is
look that
pretty ugly.
good. And
But I-
also, it was about the point
Kinda.
where the Gyaru was saying, "I'm a Gyaru, but I
Yeah,
hide this
oh my
aspect of
God.
myself because the audience
It's
wants
Hannah Montana.
innocence
Bro,
and
in my notes, I
purity."
legit.
Oh my lord! Quit describing your personality. This should have been like the realization we slowly have over the course of the episode. We should have built up to this. This should be like, oh, what's this girl's deal? Oh, she like has this aspect of herself that she doesn't show to other people, and on the show she turns to
Well,
a
the thing
completely
is-
different
the thing is-
person
Yeah,
because she wants to be pure.
I
and
literally wrote
we
down-
learned that slowly, not immediately through expositing it.
Well, the thing is
Budget-
like that we move on from that plot point pretty quickly, and as we introduce another character, and then their dynamic becomes like the main focus of the episode. So I didn't mind it too much, but I can see like that version of the show probably would have been more interesting, but I still like the version we got relatively.
Well,
enough.
I dropped it really quickly, so I don't know most of what happens in the episode. I'm
Ah,
gonna keep it
okay,
a buck
that's
with
fair.
you.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just wrote down budget Marin Kitagawa, like almost
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
without a
Yeah.
doubt.
without a doubt. It was so sad though. Like the show opened, and my immediate reaction was like, "Oh, dude, like I love good visuals of like old analog studio equipment." And then immediately afterwards, my second note is just this fucking dialogue. The dialogue. Oh, like these people, the way they talk, they.
I think the main problem is like the
Wasn't
beginning.
this supposed to be the show Yo surprisingly liked? We're only
Yeah.
saying negative things about it.
Yeah, because
Okay,
let's get to
the
good part.
main two characters have a good
Yes,
dynamic.
exactly.
They insult and put each other down. They hate each other. off mic, but when they get in front of the microphone, they have to pretend like they're big fans of each other. They enjoy each other's company.
And it's not they don't just hate each other for no reason. There's like different reasons because they contrast each other in very interesting ways. Because let's see if I remember the names. So Yumiko and the other girl, the blue haired girl Watanabe. So Yumiko is like, yeah, she's a gyaru. She has like this kind of socially, active front that she puts out at school. But then, in her acting world, she's not really getting a lot of roles. Whereas it's the opposite for Watanabe, where she's so successful as an idol, but she has no fucking friends at school, and she just does nothing but rehearse scripts all day. And she has this insecurity that like her image is something fake, that she's just like selling a lie to people, and that's something that she cannot like stomach. That's why she hates this part of her acting world, and that's why when Yumiko, she praises that part of herself. Watanabe just has a hatred for her, and then when they find out they have to work together, that's another like double whammy like that. It's really good. I can go on, but yeah, it was surprisingly interesting.
I did appreciate that element, like the idea that they had to work together with these like public and private personas, like hashtag Hillary Clinton. But I don't know if y'all have ever seen that interview, but sorry.
I was like 10 when Hillary Clinton was irrelevant.
Oh yeah. Okay. The problem is like, and another thing I loved was the freaking like live on radio. They get hit with like news of an event they're going to be having, but like as most of this dialogue is happening, like especially the most melodramatic high school drama stuff is happening. I get the same issue that I have with Classroom of the Elite oftentimes, which is they're talking about this stuff that is super like low-key melodramatic, and there's this blaring like super dramatic music over everything. Like I cannot take it seriously at all.
I think what's scary in the show for me is the story.
You don't want to be just
and the
like
dialogue.
Ayano Koji for real?
No. Also, I have a video on this. It's not good, but you can go watch it.
I will watch. I will instead watch compilations of how to become Ayano Koji, how to manipulate like Ayano Koji.
No, don't watch those. Watch
like
Classroom
Ayano
of the Elite is boring, and I
Those
don't
are actually
respect
fucking
it.
real. I need to send this.
They do. They're like Sigma male videos or something like that.
Yeah.
I love the Ayano Koji memes, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
The memes are pretty funny.
Yeah, the main draws
Personally, I do
in this
want
show
to be
for
just
me.
like Ayano Koji.
Derailed again. Success.
What I was talking about.
This show will only be can only truly be good if these two kiss by the end of
The
it.
show could only be
True.
good if it had a better production value behind it, because I love the dialogue and I like the concept. I'm just probably gonna read the light novel or the manga instead of watching this, because there's like one good shot and I'm gonna send it here, and that's the only good shot of this entire episode.
I did like the moment when the Gyaru girl like tripped the other one to prove to her that the audience was like
Yeah, that
not
was
the
great.
reason to be nervous.
But also
that was actually
That also
really...
kind of looked bad. It was like, you know what, it could be it could be in the light
Yeah.
novel. That was a great turning point where their relationship gets better at the end, where they connect over this anxiety they have because they were like on different levels, because they're always they try to compete, like, oh, I'm actually your senpai in this acting, well, I've been in here longer but I'm more successful. But then they Yumiko finds a opportunity to help this girl who's going through her first live performance. It's good. I'm gonna read the light novel. The anime kind of sucks though.
Understandable.
It's the kind of thing where I would not continue it before continuing like a number of shows even on this season, but if I like literally ran out of things to watch and wanted to throw something on, like this would suffice.
Yeah.
You could do a whole lot worse.
A whole lot worse.
And it is one
Yeah.
more in a long line of anime that just like kind of commentate on the Japanese entertainment industry. I could definitely see getting some.
Yeah,
interest
truly,
out of
this
that.
is up there with the likes of Oshinoko. They're truly
yeah.
on equal footing.
This is like Oshinoko but good. I'm saying this kind of unironically.
How? Okay.
Okay, speaking of things that are giving commentary on Japanese culture, studio apartment, good lighting, Angel included, continues to provide for the the ideal of a woman just coming down from literally on
Yeah,
high.
Literally
to
from
I
just
heaven.
did not
insert herself
watch
into your
this
life.
because I immediately had my suspicions about it.
And it's exactly
You have
what
more
about it
self-respect
not
than the
being
rest of
good.
us.
To
It is
clarify.
exactly what you think it is. It's just I really don't want to. There's nothing.
I thought this was one of those shows, like, if you are into that type of show, this has perfectly passable presentation. I actually really enjoyed the opening sequence. The fan service is brief, but it's like well drawn. Like the girl actually looks really hot, and that's very nice. But
Yeah, I do like the angel design, and she is like, adorably innocent and pure.
yeah,
Has like no possible conception of like negativity.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah,
like,
like-
anyone having bad intentions.
The only reason the dude like ends up taking her back the second time is because she's about to get like swept away by this old lecherous man because she has
To a
no
love hotel.
understanding. Yeah, yeah. The problem with this show for me, as someone who could absolutely see themselves like watching one of these, relaxing, goofy rom-coms with almost no sense to them.
You'll have that moment of self-realization and like self-awareness where you're like, oh,
What am I doing with
what-
my life?
is this what my
no.
life has come to? That I'm enjoying this type of this fiction and idealizing the scenario of a girl, coming down from literally the heavens to bless my life with her presence and move in with me with no hassle whatsoever.
This
Okay,
concept
perfectly-
sounds like a parody. If I were writing a parody of this type of show, it would be that
Yeah.
concept.
It's very blatant.
Yeah,
like, and
very
she was
blatant.
she's literally sent from heaven.
The main character,
by-
man, makes no is just completely, God is canon.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
says she's from heaven. She's literally an angel. She
She's
talks
sent
about
by God
doing
to
the
learn
work of
about
God.
humans.
Christianity is canon here. It's real. We've
Yeah,
proven it.
yeah.
The proof is right there in the pudding.
The dude, the main guy, is actually like a bit older. I don't know if he's in college, but he is holding down a job. So like the characters,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in high school.
I don't think the show's gonna have anything to say about that. The real problem for me is, even if you're into that type of show, there were a lot of quote unquote jokes in this episode. There were like 3 moments where I was like, but
the only joke they tell is that the girl is innocent. And the main guy doesn't want to I cannot take advantage of how innocent she is.
there was definitely a freaking okay, so there's a gag where like she gets excited and her wings pop out spontaneously even though she's not supposed to show anyone. This is supposed to be the gag, but it is never funny. Like all the things that I laughed at, I'm pretty sure were like accidental jokes. And the worst thing of all is it made me feel like relaxed and warm and fuzzy inside, and the fan service was nice, but there is no hook whatsoever. I have no idea why I am supposed to come back and watch another episode other than, there's
you can
gonna
get
be...
that dopamine rush of having the cute fuzzy feelings of seeing the pretty
second
cute
girl
angel
show
girl be
up.
cute with the guy.
Oh yeah, there's more girls. Obviously, there's more girls.
Yeah, because it's actually
Yeah,
also
this is a harem, by
I
the way.
think.
I distinctly noticed that there was exactly one male character in the opening, the main character,
Yeah.
and all the other characters were girls.
Of course. There's just there was just nothing that hooked me. I have no idea why I would come back for a second episode. Like, I feel like I've gotten what I'm going to get out of the show, minus there will be other girls, and I'm sure they will also have nice fan service, and maybe if I'm lucky, like a decent joke. But
One of these days, I'll get my dream anime about a couple moving in together and actually, living together, like an established couple, not just a girl coming down from on high and assimilating into a single guy's solo living space,
yeah.
but 2, people in a relationship actually coming together and learning to live with each other.
One day.
Yeah, but this is not it.
Yeah, there's just not a lot to say
something-
about this one.
Oh yeah, by the way, one thing I need to talk about before we move on. This main character design, the most sauceless design I've
I
ever
want to punch
seen
that guy.
for an
I just wanna
MC.
punch him.
Bro, Crunchy, I know you haven't seen the show, but I need you to look up the show just for the main character design. Just like pull up the episode, jump to any point where you see
I'm
the
making
dude.
the thumbnail right now, so I can I can look up his design and
Like
see it for
look him up
myself.
right now. Like Especially compared to the angel, who is admittedly pretty cute. She's got jellyfish hair, which is cute.
Dude, you know what I
every
just
time-
noticed? Dude, if you go to Mao and look at the cover of the show, he's not even on it. It's just all the girls.
Oh, is he not on the
He's
cover?
not even
This
on
guy,
Oh, he's
He
not
has
even on the
negative
cover. He's
sauce.
he's
He
the
is
ultimate cuck.
nobody.
he is literally John every anime, but they gave him purple hair.
He looks, smells, sounds, feels, and probably tastes like he stacks no paper and gets no bitches.
But he does have a job, so that's the best thing I can say for him.
Alright, you know what? On the thumbnail, I'm gonna put him right behind Kano, who is the main face in this thumbnail. Just in her shadow, literally, not even. I'm gonna put him like almost off screen. That is where I'm gonna put him. Just not even there. Just completely sauceless. There we go.
Yeah.
His like his face is mostly obscured, but he's kind of there.
The only other thing, this title sounds like a Craigslist ad.
I think that's
Studio
the
apartment,
point.
good
Yeah, this
lighting.
title's
I think that's the
awful.
point though. Like they're trying to list off like
Yeah.
what you would find on
Yeah,
a
but
listing, like a house listing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, like I get the joke,
It's
but
not
then
good.
like what am I supposed to call the show in shorthand when I'm talking about it to people? Yo, bro, have you seen Studio Apartment? Good lighting, angel included.
Just take the acronym SAGLI and or something.
Sagli.
Fasten.
It's a nothing
It's a nothing
show.
show.
Like
Yeah.
if you've completely run out of cute shows to get your cute fix, then I guess this could suffice. But for the sake of dignity and
Just-
self-respect, I cannot recommend this show to anyone.
Okay, just watch the opening sequence and then close it because it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, and then maybe touch some grass outside.
Yeah, I won't lie. I actually enjoyed that one. Like the shot of her like swooping down through the clouds, like over the cityscape. Nice shot. Nothing else in the episode looks that good, unfortunately.
Speaking of shows made for people who need to touch grass, Vampire Dormitory.
Just like Oran
I
High
did
School
not watch
Host Club,
this
but
either.
bad. It's like
Crunchy, you missed out. There's the main character's a gay femboy vampire.
No,
you
no.
would
Just
be right
like
up your
me,
alley.
for real.
Kind of.
he's not a she. It's actually a she. That's the twist of the episode, which sucks.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck?
it's like a twist on the
Wait, what?
twist. That
Yeah.
is the
Oh, he's
premise.
actually a
Yeah.
woman, just like me for real.
But the synopsis literally calls him a beautiful man.
No, but at the
know.
end, at the end, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be. I've always wanted a beautiful man as my thrall," and he's like, "Oh, but I'm a woman though."
Yeah, he literally
Oh
says.
no, yeah, you're right. There is a.
Sucks.
He literally
Rito is
says.
it's like a reverse Oron.
No,
where
Oran is Oran.
It looks like a
Oran,
girl.
It's just Oran.
Well, okay, that doesn't work
Yeah, it
then.
doesn't work.
That doesn't
It's so
work because
stupid.
that looks like a girl.
Yeah.
And is a girl.
But it is a girl. Okay, this is. I hate this show even more now.
So
It's
fucking
such a.
I didn't make it
stupid
further than 5
twist.
minutes, by the way.
good because the show had really nothing. There was some tragic backstory at play, and I didn't care.
Dude,
And
there were some.
The tragic backstory is that it got made.
Dude, the fact. The show like literally expects you to feel bad about the fact that he is a tomboy because like the fact that he is a tomboy has made his life impossible.
for some reason,
Like he cannot. I swear, there's a scene where there's like a montage where they make it out like because he's a tomboy, he just can't hold down a job. It's impossible. But then like none of it's even
Really?
real. And I don't
Oh, well, yeah,
understand.
no
like
shit,
there's
it
the
isn't
tragic.
real.
Yeah, yeah.
because
Oh,
the
yeah.
real world
There's a
doesn't
moment where
work
like
that.
he gets let, or she, I guess, gets let go of like a cafe job because all of the girls will keep swarming her and be like, "Oh, can I get your number, please, please?" And all the male customers are upset,
Dude.
like, "Bro, you're hogging all the bitches."
Dude, like not only does that make no sense
not
whatsoever.
even kidding. The dude literally fired the owner of the cafe. Literally fires her for that.
Dude, all of the women are right there in front of them watching this happen. None of them say a single word. Like none of them like they all love a freaking what's his face, what's her face, whatever the main character's name is, but they all just watch him get fired, say nothing at all. It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't. This is.
All right, well, it sounds like we've already run out of things to say about this show, so how about we move on to The New Gate?
oh, I didn't watch this
The
one,
new
unfortunately.
guy.
I didn't
I
watch
didn't
this one either.
Please,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
There's a line in here that sums up this show completely perfectly. Let me see if I can get it right here. Okay, here we go. I just got through a death game and now I have to go through an isekai?
Yeah. Okay, literally, I wrote down this anime dares to ask the question: what if Sword Art Online were less than 3 minutes long? Because like it literally is Sword Art Online.
I thought it was
in
gonna be a
3
parody
minutes.
at first when they literally describe it as a death game and like you can't log out and if you die in the game
Yeah.
you die for. I'm like, that's literally Sword Art Online. Even the main character dude looks like a red knockoff bootleg Kirito.
Dude,
So
like,
I'm like, okay,
the only
is this gonna be like a
difference-
parody? Where's the twist?
The only difference is instead of having 2 swords, his sword can turn really long.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so when he so I'm sitting here waiting like, okay, he's beaten the game. Where's the twist? Is he gonna be like, oh shit, I was like hot shit in the game, but now I'm like a fucking loser in real life, and I act like I'm hot shit in real life, but I'm still like the same sexless loser? No, he just gets isekai'd into the game world
500 years
500
later.
years into an alternate future.
Dude,
And
and his
it's literally he just goes from a death game to an isekai.
and they
And when he said that line of dialogue, it was like, how does a writer write this out and not feel the urge to blow their brains out afterwards?
Yeah, also there's a screenshot like there like it shows you his stat screen after he beats the game. All his stats are like 33,000 and something. Like they're all going
When the
off-
max is supposed to be 99999.
Yeah, like he breaks the limit immediately, like 3 minutes into the show.
Christ, dude.
It's such a strange series of writing decisions. I do wonder though. I kind of wonder if this is going to go in a different direction later. Did anyone see the end of the first episode?
Nope.
Okay, so he goes out. He becomes a member of the Adventurers Guild. He goes out to do a low level mission because he doesn't want to stick out. Blah blah blah. He wants to just start as a low ranked adventurer. He's like gathering some herbs or whatever. He sees something called a skull faced jack, which is supposed to be like this super high level monster, and he figures, what can I do against this, like with this really weak gear I have now. And so like I think 2 slashes into the fight, like his sword breaks, but he kills the skull faced jack. The monster's sword goes flying off like into the sunset, but then like post credit scene, the sword like comes crashing in to the freaking like inner courtroom of the prince of some kingdom, and they're like, oh my god, are we under attack? Like, so I think the joke is going to be that he's like running around like accidentally causing chaos because he's so unbelievably overpowered or something like that. It's really weird.
That sounds dumb.
It's a really weird way to end the episode. This was garbage.
Yeah, it's garbage. It's dumb, and so is Oblivion Battery. Sorry, not
Yeah.
sorry.
I thought this one was kind of okay. Like, okay, it was bad.
It was
bad.
fun.
I checked out immediately when they gave the dude amnesia off screen, and then when he said nipple hair, I was like, all right, nope, you've done, you've killed it.
He
Isn't
continues to
this
talk about his
literally
nipples
the
across the
plot
entire episode.
of that? Yeah, isn't this literally the plot of that other Mappa show?
What?
It's something.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about it until you brought it up. Yeah, the swimming dude,
something.
right?
Yeah,
It was a swimming show.
Swimming
By
dude. Yeah, I
Mappa?
think it was about swimming. And
Mappa.
he loses. It's an anime original, and he loses his memory, and is just like this. Is the same thing, except that one I remember it being kind of good for the first episode. This one is like just so unbelievably obnoxious. I hate the guy who lost his memory. I have like nothing to say about this episode because it's just bad.
This was one of those weird
The only
experiences.
bit of soul that I enjoyed from this is there was a funny Shawshank Redemption
that was
reference.
That was good.
But outside of that, I was like annoyed.
Well, I watched this on like 3 times speed, so I probably didn't have the best impression, but I thought it was.
I
decent
watched
for
the
what it
entire
was.
thing in
I thought it was
normal
decent as
speed
well.
just because it was from Mappa, and it was the biggest
Right.
mistake I have ever made because it is not. I was just fascinated by the idea of the Mappa L, the so uncommon in their studio, except for their working conditions, which is the biggest L of the studio, truly.
Yeah.
But in terms of show quality, normally you don't get an L this monumental. But the show doesn't even look that good. It looks weirdly bright and glossy, and it's so forgettable.
I like the
Well,
clouds.
honestly, the production of it is one of its stronger aspects. But
I don't even
it's
think
like,
it looks
it's
that
clearly Mappa's B team. It's clearly their B team.
Is the anime
good. I mean, the
about
character
swimming
design,
called,
I like the
Remake?
character designs fine enough.
Yeah.
Character designs
Kind
were
of.
stupid.
Okay,
That was,
main
I
guys,
didn't really like them.
main guy's design, blue hair rather, isn't that great. I mean, I kind of like the main guy's
he's
design,
tall.
but
I think the only
I
part
know
of the
everything.
episode.
I thought the
animation.
animation was passable.
The
for-
animation
for
is
the
decent.
baseball stuff.
I still maintain that it is weirdly glossy looking.
I knew I was in for somewhat of a bad or at least middling time when I like immediately started laughing at things that clearly weren't supposed to be funny. Like the show opens like on so much tension, like the freaking repeated lines of like as they're like tearing through the other baseball teams with this perfect pitcher, and like you keep hearing the yell strike, and like all the characters are sweating profusely, like the music is getting more and more dramatic and louder, and all I could do was laugh at it for some reason. And then once it got to the point where like freaking the nipple hair or whatever, like the parts where I felt like I was supposed to laugh, like nothing was funny. I did, however, like I liked a lot of the visuals. I loved the freaking shots of the sky and the clouds moving, like backing the picture and all that. I just there's just not a lot about this one that sticks out in my mind.
There was that one part that I liked by the end where they kind of say, okay, so this guy, the edgy boy, he's a very accomplished batter, I think. Yeah, he's a very accomplished batter, and he could have a future in sports, but he gave up all of that to kind of just play baseball with his best childhood friend. And then that could have been nice.
Yeah.
If the childhood friend wasn't so fucking obnoxious. But I could see where they were going there, and that's something.
Yeah, this is like an archetype I've come to call Bro-Kun. That's
You're making up words.
I'm always making up words. You know though, like this is the wingman of the show, but he is like he's constantly making like gag jokes that aren't very funny. He has some English, which I thought was kind of funny. Welcome to meet you. I thought that was kind of funny. I like the idea of like you said, this character, even though he's like this perfect pitcher, he's sacrificed it all because he just wants to have fun playing with the person who he enjoys and has chemistry with. The idea that he's gonna like teach him to love baseball again could be great. I don't know that.
Yeah, the
this
other parts
is-
of the script were not holding up well enough for me to continue watching. Want to continue watching.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this episode is when I turned it off to watch something else.
Like what viral hit? Did you watch that one?
I did watch Viral Hit, and okay, here's the thing about Viral Hit. I really like the premise.
Yeah.
This adaptation ain't hitting.
I didn't watch this one, so I had no idea.
I can't get behind a few things in this show. I feel like I could only find this episode enjoyable, like semi-ironically, because the show takes itself very seriously for a premise that doesn't really warrant it. His life is comically awful. He's bullied all the time for the sake of being, made into a prop for a YouTube video. His mom's in the hospital, and he's just not having a good time. And so he eventually breaks into a fight with this guy, and it becomes this viral clip, and he decides at that moment, okay, I'm gonna become a YouTuber, and I'm gonna make it all about fighting, and it's gonna
Really?
be,
That's
it's
the
like
premise?
really edgy,
Yes.
and he's demands this sinister
The
tone,
bullied
like my
kid fights
90%
back.
cut. This show makes being a YouTuber look so easy. Like, what
Yeah.
what are these
Yeah.
people streaming? just random stuff in their classroom, and they make like stupid amounts of money doing it. These people should have 10 subscribers.
Yeah,
And then
like it felt like it was
some
trying...
random fight on a live stream gets 7 million views. Like, sure, it's an entertaining clip, but like it should have more like 100. Honestly, how many people were on that live stream? How far
don't
did they
know, dude.
spread it to where it got 7 million views?
Have you ever seen a man get slapped with spaghetti? Because I haven't.
With kimchi.
That was like the best moment to me. Like kimchi.
Yeah, this is manhwa.
Ah, I see. Well,
I think I'll
Oh my
hate
God,
it.
don't
if I actually
mention
watched
kimchi, or
because
else I'll do the entire copy pasta from Zaregoto.
Do it.
It definitely it felt like they were going for the social commentary on the YouTube and stuff like that, but it like you said, it was very, very misunderstood. I thought this was painfully cringy up until the moment of the spaghetti slap. I admit I thought that was pretty hilarious. This has that visual style almost like God, what kind of like Prison School. Like it's really going out of its way to make these characters look like ugly and full of like drop shadows all over their
I'm
features.
not a fan of that style.
Yeah, it makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't.
Yeah, I look at the dude with 700,000 subscribers, like that is not a high schooler. I don't care how you
Yeah.
try to convince me. That dude is a like 30, 40-year-old elderly dude with in the body of the stature, the size of a high schooler.
Dude, I did love though the moment after their freaking live stream went viral, like the cameraman like lost his social position in the school, and like he started trying to bully one of the nerds to like kind of bring his position back, but the nerd had gained
Immediately
confidence.
fought back and kicked his ass.
Like this freaking viral clip had given him the confidence to stand up, but when he went to hit him for the last time, he literally shouted out the classic freaking phrase, oh God, oh my,
You're already dead.
like he literally said it. It was pretty funny, not gonna lie.
Why do these webtoon
And,
women always look so hot? That's my question. Like I'm looking at the character profiles, I'm like, what the hell?
Only the nerd girl who, according to the ED, is going to join them by the end. Is like the only cute looking one. By the way, speaking of the ending and the opening, the song for the OP kind of fucking bangs.
Oh, yeah.
It's too bad that's a fucking clip show.
Yeah.
What?
The one thing.
The song was catchy, but it sounded honestly kind of like an Imagine Dragons song almost.
Yeah.
Or I guess had the same vibe, I guess, of like overproduced sounding pop song that is catchy, but that you really don't want to listen to just because it sounds so overproduced.
Why is the guy? Why is it called Massive the Rampage? It sounds like they're trying to do like the band name. What is it? Maximum the Hormone? It's like a knockoff version of that.
I thought this was the kind of fascinating train wreck. I'll admit I couldn't bring myself to look away from, even though I spent most of the episode not feeling good, just feeling very uncomfortable. But
I like the premise of them, like a bullied kid and his one of his former bullies, working together to make it big on YouTube by. But what they're gonna do is they're gonna call out bullies
in real time.
They're gonna fight them.
Yeah.
In real time, they're gonna beat their asses, and they're gonna make money doing it. And the only reason that the main dude is doing it because he is so fed up with how shitty his life is that he just wants an easy way to make money. The way that they root it in sympathy is that because his mom has cancer and is like, if she leaves the hospital, she's like pretty much asking for death. But because she's in the hospital for so long, he's racking up the medical bills. But now that he has YouTube and YouTube revenue from his fight videos, he's able to both do that and have some money left over. So he's fighting people for kind of a good cause.
Yeah. Well, he also he did have a really good moment, quote unquote good moment, his Good Samaritan moment anyway, because he works at I don't remember if it was freaking McDonald's or
It's
burger
McDonald's.
or whatever. Yeah, it's McDonald's.
It's fucking McDonald's.
The freaking streamers show up at his workplace live streaming. They're going to ask the chick who he likes at work for her number through some freaking challenge. They're gonna trick her into giving her number away. Like, I bet you can't make your famous burger in 30 seconds. And the dude ends up doing it himself as he's like profusely sweating, trying to make sure they don't see who he is. Yeah, it's
He's the ultimate white knight.
yeah. Once again, like you said, manhwa chick's unbelievably hot for some reason. You didn't think she was
I'm only judging from the character profile.
Only the nerd one.
only the nerd one? Okay. I do wonder what her dynamic is gonna be. Like, is she gonna be there?
And maybe they look more attractive because all the dudes in this world look fucking hideous.
That's true. I just wonder going forward, is she gonna be like their freaking social media marketer? Like, what is she?
Absolutely think that's gonna be the thing.
think so?
She because we see a clip of her like watching the stream and be like, oh, and we see
Yeah.
little bits of her like she's one of their classmates and she's like she sticks around to like watch a thing happen, like
Yeah.
one of the fights happening in the school, and then leaves.
Yeah, it seems like she's like the one who really gets the appeal of this stuff. I guess kind of the vibe I got.
Yeah, I like the idea of the story. I just don't think I'll be continuing it as an anime. If I ever pick it back up, it'll be with the manhwa.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I'm sure it would be less painful to watch. That was the one thing. This was unbelievably cringe-inducing, but once again, it was one of those things I just could not bring myself to look away from it. But that's about all I've got to say.
For anyone's episode that wherever they used to watch this, did y'all see a montage spoiling everything that was gonna happen in the episode at the beginning of the episode? Or was that just me? Did I just get like a weird?
No, I seen
I
like
didn't
a
get
weird
that.
animation of a cowboy. Like, I don't know what that
A
was
cow-
about.
It's like after I think it was like the Plus Ultra block or whatever animation block this was on. I got like a montage. Like it formatted as like a YouTube video of like all the like a bunch of
Ooh.
events that was gonna happen in the episode
Right.
that like spoiled a bunch of shit. And I'm like,
I think I
why are
do.
we doing this?
I think I do
I'm about
remember
to
that.
watch the episode of all these things that are gonna happen.
You know, that is very YouTube core, though. To be fair.
Oh, you know, I guess it is. Even if I don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that's enough about Viral Hit. These last few shows, I don't think we have much more than like a couple minutes to say on each. Yatagarasu, The Raven Does Not Choose Its Master. I do not really care for these historical drama type
It
shows.
probably could have.
Yeah,
I mean, I like the Apothecary Diaries. This is like that bad, and also
yeah.
the manga looked kind of like the art because like the designs of these like kind of Japanese Chinese inspired characters are pretty intricate, and it looked horrible as an anime. And maybe in the manga they will look better, but also just the political drama doesn't grip me, even as somebody who grew up on them.
I have
Well,
never.
you know what my favorite thing in anime is narration about cool sounding premises that would have been interesting to discover naturally
Yeah.
through world building and dialogue, but just having it told to me by a disembodied narrator.
Yeah.
As like
It
weird,
really gets me immersed and
traditional-
wanting to continue watching the show and not just skip around through it and drop it after 5 minutes.
You know, I was watching that monologue, or no, not really a monologue, but more like just exposition about the world.
Exposition.
And I was, exposition. And I was just thinking to myself, the Yatagarasu is a Geometry Dash level made by, I actually forget
Nah.
all the people who made it, but Funny Game had a part verified by Trusta in whatever year it was verified. It's one of the best red and black level. Oh wait, what? We're talking about anime? I'm watching something, huh?
Geometry Dash
What's happening?
is good. I like Geometry Dash.
Yatagarasu.
Oh,
is
you
a-
don't know my
is a-
history. My history.
Yeah.
With Geometry Dash.
Club
A
Step.
lot of it.
2019.
No, don't finish it. Don't finish the sentence.
It is
Um,
garbage.
Okay,
No!
speaking of video
You
games,
for-
speaking
you
of
forgot
video
one
games,
more is garbage there. Yeah, man, there should be another one.
True,
That's
there
the
is a
sequel.
that's
You
the
gotta
sequel.
watch. You gotta start with the
Yeah,
original.
That's right.
I have never played Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but I would imagine this is that, but worse.
played?
Uh,
It's a book, bro. What do you mean?
Don't you
is
mean?
it a book?
Isn't it a book?
Isn't there a freaking RPG about it?
There's like 2,000, but yeah.
I-
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I thought the book was
book-
called like
the book
Three
is called
Kingdoms or some
Romance of the
shit.
Three Kingdoms. Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm an idiot.
Well, yeah.
It's okay.
But the romance is actually good, and this one's not. This one's really boring, and the core drama is
Yeah.
not.
But so I mean, to basically just tell you what this is, it's like it's a battle for the marriage between these four princesses who have been set up from different kingdoms. They're going to try to figure out who is more worthy to marry the prince of the kingdom, and like you can tell there's some drama going on in the background because like the current emperor or whatever they called him, the reigning emperor, something like that, and the freaking queen, whatever you call her, they do not seem to be on great terms. Like there's this scene of them playing freaking Go or shogi
Yeah, but why
or
are they
whatever.
like doing like the the little like chopsticks? They're like playing them with like really
Yeah.
far away for some reason.
Yeah, they're both behind. That like they're not actually looking at each other. They both have their faces and upper bodies behind these freaking like semi-translucent freaking blinds as they're moving them around with sticks.
Yeah.
And she's like monologuing, like making weird metaphors to her evil plan as he like shakes and sweats on the other side. Like you can tell she's manipulating this whole thing, whatever she's doing. And there's also that they talk about how the prince, like they say something about how he basically lost his mind at some point. He's off doing his own thing. He's like a real version of this freaking mystical raven that is a part of the lore in this series. I'm guessing the same character who comes out of the opening sequence. And so they're like going around doing something, him and all his freaking god, the retainers and bodyguards or whatever who are with him. He's like a rambunctious.
I don't remember. I think I watched the whole episode. At a certain point I turned off. So
I gotcha. Yeah, this didn't come up until like near the end. I mean, most of the episode was just the main girl getting like bullied and manipulated by the other princesses.
yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, I don't know why I'm trying to talk about the most interesting part as if it took up more than 2 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, speaking of only taking up 2 minutes of time, unless someone else had something riveting to say about Yatagarasu.
No, that's totally fair. We're
talking about Rinkai now. What does that mean?
Yeah, all I wrote down
Yeah,
was all I wrote down was Rinkai, the sequel to Bankai, and then I didn't watch it.
Yeah, talking about Rinkai is putting it loosely. Malding about Rinkai because
Okay. Tell me all about it.
Did you watch the first couple minutes?
No, I gave up.
I didn't
gave
watch
up on
anything
this
of this
podcast.
show.
Yeah.
You missed the worst CG of the season.
Oh, I'm so sad.
Oh,
that
no.
I missed bad CGI Neon. I'm so.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. I need y'all to see
Okay,
this
show
one
me.
clip. And I'm going to be using it for the on-screen element that you'll be seeing for this part of the podcast. I need y'all to pull up the episode, the first episode of Rinkai. Let me try to find the timestamp for it. It is very important that we don't even need to talk about the show beyond this part.
Okay, I'm going to quote unquote Crunchyroll.com.
All right, I'm going
Hold
to.
on.
Yeah, I'm
Hold on,
also on
finding it.
Crunchyroll.
I'm finding it.
Surprisingly. Oh wait, it's not on
I'm
this.
trying to find
This
it.
instance of Crunchyroll. I need to go onto a different Crunchyroll website. Hold on.
Yes.
Crunchyroll 2.
Crunchyroll
third
2.
party
Yeah, they made
Where-
the first was so
where
good
is
they
it?
made a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay, the 55-second mark.
55 second
55-second mark.
Okay.
That is not very far.
I'm watching it in full HD.
Are you ready for the greatest
Oh,
animation you've
my
ever seen in your
lord.
life?
What?
Oh, beautiful.
bow.
It's so good. It's so. I'm
Y'all ever?
How? How do you manage to
Yo,
make
where are my rigging fans at? Where are my 3D
Oh, it's
rigging
so good
model
looking.
fans at? You ever bend,
It's so
take
pristine.
the axis and just move it forward a couple inches?
Yes.
where are my Blender bros at?
Where my
I-
3ds Maya Max bros at?
I
I
love how
don't
Crunchy just started
understand.
moaning when you saw the CGI.
Oh my
It was
god!
really
Oh my
good.
god!
What can
look
I
at
say?
look at the speed up effect. What's happening?
They
At like 1 minute 30 seconds.
You can see where it
What?
says like the end animation just ends
Oh.
because there's not an animation. They just move the axis forward.
Holy shit.
This is
The best
mesmerizing.
anime of the
Oh my
season.
god! What was that? There, every couple of seconds, there's something that's just mind-blowingly bad.
Yep, it's pretty. I feel like I owe High Speed Etoy an apology.
Dude, I'm. Oh my god, the green screen freaking anime speed lines. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so
I wish.
that's that. Obviously, anime
I
of the
think that's-
season. So now I have to move on to the
Yeah.
last show,
Yeah,
which
I
is
feel
Tonari
really
no
bad.
Youkai-san.
Which I did not
I feel
watch.
really bad.
I
I
didn't know Franklin
also
watched
did not
it.
watch this.
I watched this.
I watched it. I did not make it past, I think, 10 minutes.
Aw. Okay, so this is like it's a slice of life fantasy show. And it's a lot more fantastical than I expected it to be. So, okay, yeah, here I think I wrote this down. In this land, the people and the gods live together. Eventually, beings with mysterious powers and appearances called Ayashi came to be. Okay, by the way, this is that same thing you were talking about earlier, where they just like suddenly monologue the premise in the middle of the episode. Beings that were given life by the gods, beings born of people's hearts and the mystical powers of their words, the Ayashi began to live alongside humans. Even after many of the gods returned to the heavens, they continued to live alongside humans. And here, in Fushigamori, a valley town where the wind often blows, ... And yeah, I don't know what was supposed to come after those dots, but so this is a slice of life show about this little village. There's this girl who I think, yeah, she's lost her dad recently, and their cat is seeming like it's about to die, but it turns out their cat didn't die. It was reborn as a nekomata, which is a cat with a split tail.
It's, also,
which
it's a demon in Persona 3, level 15. You
Oh.
can use it.
yeah.
Crazy.
This show also has Birdman in it. Birdman's pretty cool.
Birdman is a rapper. What are you talking about?
No, not that Birdman. The one who used to come on Cartoon Network before you were born. I think that was his name. I could be wrong. There is some interesting lore stuff in here. It's mostly just like a relaxing show with like mysterious fantasy stuff going on. But like they go out of their way to explain like all sorts of like natural phenomenon by using spirits. Like there's this thing called a Deitarabochi, which is this
Bochi?
giant
Bochi?
yeah, it's
Ayo.
Bochi. It's this giant like blue and white mystical being that just like roams around like bringing rain into the land. Like there's lots of those weird like tidbits explaining how the yokai have been integrated into society as well. Like when you're reborn as a yokai, you have to file out like all this freaking paperwork so that the government can keep track of you and stuff. So there's actually some pretty interesting world building. Yeah, I actually thought it was interesting all the different ways they integrated the yokai, the spirits into the world. Like there's this little creature that the main girl once again, like I said, like lost her father, uses to basically transform into this horse spirit that goes off and like freaking carriages people back and forth. I don't know that much of what else to talk about because like I said, it's a slice of life. It's very just like atmospheric stuff.
be
The
honest,
Birdman character.
The actual manga cover looks pretty good. I just don't know where to find it. And not even on the very legal sites that I usually visit.
Well, dang.
It's a harmless slice of life,
Yeah.
kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
the most interesting thing about it is like the coexistence of these
yeah.
yokai beings with people. But at that point, I think I'd rather just rewatch interviews with monster girls.
But yeah, I mean, like outside of the world building, like there's obviously some kind of like light mystery going on in the background. I don't know if that's going to continue to carry on. Like near the end of the first episode, it turns out this detective called, you might even call him a spirit detective, called the mother and told her that they had investigated the possibility that the father had been abducted or spirited away or whatever. But they say, I'm sorry to say he may have been swallowed up by the void, an imaginary dimension between here and the afterlife. And the main girl can like, someone
That
says,
escalated quickly.
yeah, I know it got dark, man. Like all of a sudden, near the end, Birdman says that the main character, he's not actually called Birdman, but I'm gonna keep calling him Birdman. Says apparently Moo can quote unquote see it, which I'm guessing is referring to like her ability to see the spirit realm or something. And so like she knows that her father was swallowed up, but can't accept his death. And Birdman, Jiro, his actual name, has decided that she's going to act as his father figure until she accepts his death. And I guess that's probably going to be like the overarching character dynamic. The only other thing that happens right at the end, you see this snake in the grass who's like listening in on their conversation. And then there's like a weird, dark spirit looking thing like off in the forest. And it's this ominous cliffhanger like nearby, near the freaking girl, Mew, the main girl. And yeah, right after that, nice relaxing ED, just showing off all the characters. It was cozy, and it made me feel warm inside, as all good slice and life should. There was nothing amazing about it. I mean, I don't
it was
remember.
a solid slice of a life.
Yeah. And this was a solid slice of a podcast.
Yeah, with that, we've covered all the shows, sans Grimm Variations, but I don't hold that one against us too much.
Please.
Yeah, sorry. I will say
What?
No, I was just gonna say I will say like as far as slice of life shows, I don't think you could go wrong with this one. I mean, if you just want one that's coming out seasonally, it was nice. Yeah, sorry, I cut you off. Ending.
So yeah, we've made it to the end of the spring 2024
Holy
season.
shit.
What are y'all thinking? Like compared to last season, better or worse?
Well, you guys have seen like a lot of stuff from
last season. Yeah, last season was already pretty slim pickings.
I remember.
Once again, Buchigiri didn't turn out that good. This season, I have high hopes.
The biggest show of last season was Solo Leveling, so that pretty much says everything about the quality of last season.
Yeah, at the very least, is Kaiju Number 8 the biggest show this season? I haven't checked the Mal charts.
New show, probably.
If it is, that's already a good thing.
Let's see. Oh no, it has 195,000.
It's the biggest of the new shows. Because it's behind the sequels like Konosuba, Demon Slayer, Reincarnated Slime, and Jobless Reincarnation.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, as a frontrunner of the season, it is definitely better than, better than Solo Leveling. It's got a lot more personality, and there are some interesting shows, but I think overall, I'd have to let me look at some of the other things that were on last season.
Last season was one of those ones. There weren't that many shows I was interested in, but there were a couple of standouts. I mean, freaking Dungeon Meshi is freaking amazing.
Yeah, Dungeon Meshi. I have to watch Sengoku Yoko so badly because I think it'll be good.
Yeah,
but Dungeon Meshi.
I know.
The thing is, I don't think this show. I don't know if this season will have a show as good as Dungeon Meshi, because Dungeon Meshi is phenomenal, and I can't imagine even Jellyfish. I mean, I have issues with the first episode, but think it'll turn out good in the end. I think it'll even turn out great, but I'm not sure if it'll turn out to be as great as Dungeon Meshi.
There's no show here that's as good as Dungeon Meshi.
Fine.
But at the same time, I feel like there's a wider variety of better of more good shows, like a higher quantity. Yeah, because like outside of Dungeon Meshi, let's see what do we have?
I loved Gushing, but I know that's
literally just Dungeon Meshi and Sengoku Yoko last season. Yeah, like those are the only two. I would have said Buchigiri once again, but it went downhill. for this,
I think
I do-
I think I'd
season-
probably enjoy a lot more of "'Tis Time for Torture Princess." It looked cute.
Mm.
I did love
Yeah.
what I seen of freaking Ninja Kamui, but I've heard it does not.
Oh, I need to watch that one.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people
Uh,
complaining that it's steadily gone down since the mechs were introduced. I cannot confirm, but I've loved it so far.
More about this season.
You can't go wrong
Well,
with.
yeah, like just this season, we've got like Kaiju number 8, we've got Windbreaker, we've got Girls Band Cry, we've got Jellyfish.
I will say if like you're caught up on Dungeon Meshi right now and you're looking for something else and you somehow haven't watched Kaiju number 8, I do think it somewhat scratches the itch of like a combination of great fights, great comedy with like good character interactions, character dynamics, and it is kind of horrifying at times. I mean, that's a lot of the same stuff that I'm loving Dungeon Meshi for. Like it has a little bit of everything.
How hard it was? How hard was it for you guys to do the top 3 list for this season?
I'm going back.
It was
and
easier
forth.
to do the bottom 3 than the top.
We
3.
first did the bottom. three?
I did have to make some tough
Uh.
cuts for the top 3, but I feel like I'm comfortable with my
bottom
decisions.
3 did not change at all this block, mostly because I skipped the bad shows. But you know,
okay.
I mean, my bottom 3, I decided on it a while ago. My top 3, there are 2 shows I'm going back and forth on a bit, but we'll get into that when we get into that.
Okay.
So framing, why don't you start with your top and bottom
Do
3?
we go bottom first and then
Okay,
top first? That sounds
let
really
me-
wrong.
Yeah,
I need to.
You can go top to
Okay.
bottom.
I need to get open the other list. I'm sorry, I didn't have it ready already. My top
Oh, no.
3.
Also,
I think my
sat
top
on my
3.
leg and now it is dying of pins and needles. I am in agony.
Oh no.
Well, that sounds like a you problem,
Yeah.
buddy.
That's true.
I just had to
I think my
inform
top
everyone that I
3
am in pain.
My top 3 would be Kaiju number 8, Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, and Train to the End of the World. That's pretty easy decision, I think.
Is Train to the End of the World your number 1?
I think it's still my number 1. Kaiju number 8 is giving it a run for the money. I really love Kaiju number 8, what I've seen so far. I also need to catch up on Train to the End of the World.
Yeah, bro, Train to the End of the World got that Hideo Kojima approval.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I think
okay,
I
okay.
saw something
Oh,
about that.
nice.
That's crazy.
Sounds about
That's
right.
actually crazy. Yeah.
Bottom 3, got God's Game We Play, the Banished Former Hero. I feel like there was something else this freaking. I might have to go with freaking Vampire Dormitory. I just could not stand the dialogue in that one. I guess that's it.
That's interesting.
All right, how about you, Curious?
Okay. It's actually surprisingly similar in many ways. So okay. Just for a few mentions of shows, they're not in the top 3, but I want to mention them. Go Loser Ranger. I need to watch more of it. It could rise up in the ranks because I see its promise. Train to the End of the World. I didn't like the first episode as much as you guys, but I think it could be interesting in later episodes. But my top 3 is also Kaiju number 8, number 3, and Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night at number 2. And my number 1 is the show I'm dick riding this whole season, Girls Band Cry. It has a lot of issues, right? Especially after second episode, third episode, fourth episode just came out today. I watched it. Just sometimes the animation isn't up to snuff, and the script, especially for the latest one, is just like it feels so jumbled. But it still has a lot of soul, and the production value, I think, is still there, like 85, 90% of the time. And I don't know, maybe I'm just like experiencing something new because I had not really seen like a good CG anime in a while. But I'm really enjoying it, and the angst is still there, and the characters are really likable, and I am looking forward to more. But maybe at the end of the season, Jellyfish will rise up to number 1. And my bottom 3 is nothing actually from this block. It's mostly the fucking isekai. So for honorable mentions, I want to mention the Elf Bride show. Not because it's like so bad, but because like I just want a philosopher, like a modern philosopher, like Slavoj Žižek, or Byung Hancha. I'm just listing names. Like Slavoj Žižek is like a okay, modern philosopher, I want him to dissect the show, to be like, what society has done to bring us to this point that we have a show about this thing and it's acceptable. I just want somebody to dissect it. I'm not the one to do it, but I desperately want somebody to do it. Number 3, bottom 3 is the Shodatai Isekai, just for the shock value, sheer horrifying shock value, from the sexual licking of the dismembered finger and all that. And number 2 is God's Game We Play, because somehow you can get even more boring than boring isekai. And then there's The Banished Former Hero Lives As He Pleases. That's my worst anime of the season, because God, it's the most incompetently written thing I've seen probably ever. So yeah, that's my top and bottom 3.
You just hate isekai.
For good reason.
Yeah, totally
Wow, you
fair.
hate isekai? I wonder why. What did isekai ever do to deserve that?
How difficult would it be if I asked you what your favorite isekai of the season was?
My favorite isekai is the one I
The
spent out in my head.
season.
Uh,
Oh dear.
Did anyone else even watch them? That's the real question.
I didn't.
I watched them.
Yeah.
And I want to kill people. I guess I'll just do, as the reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in the world. That would be my favorite, because of my
Okay,
childhood
okay.
dream coming true, and also because of the funny AI opening, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, alright. So I guess I'll go with I'm gonna do a bottom 3 first, just so that we can end on a positive note.
Yes, please.
So at number 3 worst, we have God's Game We Play, just awful, horrible in every way, generic light novel. The visualization of the cards is hilarious. I will never stop making fun of it. At number 2, we have Tadaima Okairi.
Oh,
which
come
was
on.
the-
Come on. How can you not respect the
It was
Omega
pretty
verse?
bad.
The thing is, although I wanted to find it like at least entertaining bad because of the Omegaverse thing, but it is literally just gay dads raise a child simulator, but in the most boring way imaginable. I don't think I felt a single pulse the entire episode, and that's the main issue with it. And for number 1 worst, an Archdemon's Dilemma: How to Love Your Elf Bride. Even though I didn't get to the slavery part, hearing about it made me retch, and also because before that point was the attempted assault scene, which obviously I click off a show anytime there's something like that without really good justification. And in this case, it did not have that justification, and so I stopped watching, and I hated it. Or at least I hated that scene, and from what I've heard, I'll probably hate the rest. So number 3 best. My number 3 and number 2 I was going back and forth on constantly. But for number 3, I'm going to go with Train to the End of the World. Train to the End of the World is super imaginative. That one screenshot where the city is mutated lives rent-free in my head. It looks so interesting, and I have reasonably high hopes for it, but the reason why I can't put it at number 2 is because there's just more question marks with where it is going. I am not as sure about it as number 2, Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, because even though I was really, not having a good time with certain parts of the episode, even though there were certain things that, as Curious put it, mommy and daddy were fighting about, nonetheless, that seems like a problem isolated to that episode, and considering that everything else in it was so strong, I am reasonably excited for it, and I am more sure of its future trajectory than Train to the End of the World, where even though Train to the End of the World could feasibly pass it, at the same time, I have more confidence in Jellyfish. And at number 1, it's gotta be Kaiju number 8. The concept is so good, and even though I have a lot of question marks about where it could go, everything I've heard about it from you guys seems like it's going to get better, or not get better, but remain consistent in quality to a reasonable degree. It's got great production values, it's directed well. I really love the main character. I love both of the main characters so far, and the cliffhanger was effective in getting me excited for episode 2. So I think it deserves the top spot. I had the most fun with its first episode, and I have the most faith in where it's going. So that's banger, and now we hear what Neon has to say.
All right, well, I'll start with my top 3. I'll give some honorable mentions because I'm sad that I had to cut these out of the running, but it is what it is. Honorable mentions to Sandland. I forgot I didn't write them down. Okay, Sandland, Train to the End of the World, Girls Band Cry,
Yes, finally.
and one extra little shout out to Mysterious Disappearances because one little bit from the manga that I forgot to add is that Ogawa's nipples are inverted in the manga, so base for that.
Okay.
Alright, but now we move on to the actual top 3. I'd say number 3 is Kaiju number 8. It looks like it's gonna be a fun shonen. It hasn't shown anything particularly like super unique outside of its like protagonist being a dude in his 30s who's trying to it's never too late to pursue your dreams. You can't give up even like when you think it's all over. It's a unique angle to take it, a classic shonen trope, and I have no doubts it's gonna be more fun, more action packed as it goes along. Number 2, a bit of a wild card here because I haven't seen it been brought up much in talks of being the top show. But Windbreaker,
Yeah.
because I just really love everything that Windbreaker stands for, and if it is as in touch with what I would call the polar opposite of toxic masculinity as possible, if it's like super pro macho masculinity without being toxic, then that sounds like it is the show tailor made for me. And number 1 has got to be Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. No first episode in this whole season and this whole series of podcasts have come close to touching how expertly crafted this style of filmmaking is. I'm much looking forward to new episodes of this more than anything else. So as for my bottom 3, number 3 is God's Game We Play because I thought we had moved beyond the style of like it's faux sci-fi academy based
that guy, I'm still waiting for an
high
execution for
school
that guy who
games.
came up with that.
Yeah, I thought we as a society have moved past that, but we have people who feel like we have to be stuck in the old ways. We gotta shake them off like a bad disease. Second worst is The New Gate for having the audacity to be Sword Art Online and then become an isekai right afterwards. That should be. Yeah, you should have your hands removed for that one. You should be prevented from ever picking up a pencil or typing on a keyboard again. And worst show's got to be Rinkai because I cannot imagine myself sitting through 12 episodes of that shit. I would think I would rather gouge my eyes out.
Also, I need
solid.
to make an amendment to my bottom 3. The true top 1 worst is every isekai that I didn't watch. I already know that to be true. I just didn't watch them.
So true.
Mm.
Also,
it's so.
what you can go.
It's just. I was just gonna say it's so sad. I feel like the most interesting isekai of this season has some of the worst production values.
Like
It's
like which one?
The most interesting
For-
isekai
for
is the reverse one.
I was gonna say because Remonster really does intrigue me in that sense of like I love a show about like bad people, people who like do bad things to accomplish their good intentions, but the production value is just so utterly basic. And there are isekai this season that look much better than it and have basically nothing interesting to offer.
I want to say
It's just sad.
just because I don't get other chances to shout out. Hibike Ifono season 3. KyoAni is so back. This is actually my anime of the season, but it's a sequel, so it doesn't count.
Oh yeah, no, my real anime of the season is Konosuba
Is it
season
actually
3.
good? Is it better than the? Is it like as good as the previous season?
It's still hilarious.
It's maintained the
Really?
soul.
Yeah.
Well, I think the production has taken a slight hit, but
Yeah,
not nearly as bad as the Megumin show.
I don't.
They were putting their A game towards the actual
That's
Konosuba.
reassuring. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch it soon. But Hibike, KyoAni, I love you.
I was laughing out loud multiple times from the first
That's a
episode.
good sign.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, it's like I'm reunited with a long lost friend. It's we're so
We're
back.
So back. Yeah, this season's full of a
It's
lot of
truly been 5 years since Konosuba Kino, since Kino
Oh.
Suba.
literally. It's the movie. All right.
Yeah, and with that, I think that brings us to the end of this spring 2024 podcast. Both of you, if you got any like big projects or like channels you want to plug, go ahead and do so.
If you want to see the most jumbled, autistically edited documentary style version of a video about Funimation digital copies, it should be coming out in the next couple of days. It has just gotten completely out of control. So go subscribe to Framing the Narrative if you want to see that. It's all about media ownership
Wow.
and all the various ways that you can consume anime, because I basically wanted to take this as a jumping off point to show people all the different options they have, because I feel like people don't realize how many different ways they have to go about supporting and consuming anime. That there's way more out there than just a couple of streaming platforms and
legal ones.
You know,
We
American
only like the
Blu-rays.
legal ones, right? Right, Framing? Right?
Nah, only the legal ones,
Yeah.
and I definitely don't talk about the illegal ones in my video whatsoever. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Nah, but really, I take that part of the video to teach you how to idiot-proof your computer, basically,
What?
because obviously I'm not gonna give you a link to the website, but I can teach you how not to get a virus while doing it. Allegedly.
All right. Let's see. I guess I can say that I'm making a video on Zero Experiments Lane and its opening and TikTok and how that's ruining everything, and I need to touch grass. And it's coming out in maybe like a month. That's the hope.
Nice.
Yeah. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll hopefully be posting more A&Vs soon on the second channel. So also listen to that. Watch that if you want. That's it.
Dope.
Crunchy, do you
Yeah.
have any upcoming projects?
Well, the Nyan Neko Sugar Girls video, if I actually get it done,
fuck
but
is
mostly
that?
right now what I've been working on is a book, an entire ass book. I'm like 40k words into it. Those are my two big projects
Bro's going
right now.
back to his writer
So
art.
what is it called?
I'm obsessed. Nyan Neko Sugar Girls. It's
Oh.
a fanime from 2010.
Okay.
It came out from 2010 to 2012. It's got 10 episodes and it's amazing. It's a deliberately parodical fanime. It's
No.
great. It's hilarious. The character in my Discord profile picture, which no one listening has context to, is Raku-chan from the show, which, just to sell you on it, her name is a pun on rack because she has giant tits. So there you
Awesome.
go.
Nice.
Wait, I was asking actually the name for the book, not the anime.
Oh, the book. I cannot share that as of now.
Divulge this information.
He's under
at
an
this time.
NDA
He's
as we
under
speak.
NDA.
All right. That's exciting.
I don't think I've told anyone the title of the book yet.
Oh.
That is for my mind only.
And as for me, I'm switching jobs because I had just started a full-time career finally,
Huh?
and now I'm immediately switching to another one that's actually within my degree field. So, all my promises of being like, hey, I'm finally able to work on a video as soon as I'm able to get this full-time career going. It's gonna be a little bit longer because now I have to readjust my whole schedule to a new work life.
Dang. Congrats on actually getting some use out of your freaking degree. That's awesome.
Yeah, it only took about 3 years from graduating, but hey, you know, better late than never.
I'm so looking
Right.
forward to entering the job market.
College is definitely not a scam.
All right. That's reassuring to know.
That's propaganda.
And,
Go to trade school, kids.
Yeah, just be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter. Follow on Twitch because I do stream on Twitch semi often.
streaming right now?
More often than I upload. More often than I upload not podcast videos, which is never. So any amount of time, any amount of frequency would be more than that. Yeah, that'll do her for this episode of the Castaway Anime Podcast. We'll see y'all next time.